Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Good morning. Sorry for the late start. Actually, the jury's not even out here yet. So to counsel, go ahead and state your name for the record. We're going to go ahead and get on the record. We did have a preliminary matter to take care of back in chambers. Plaintiff put a motion last minute to keep Turtle Boy out of the courtroom. So we had to take care of that. So again, good morning and come on in. All right, we are here officially on record. Yes, Peter Erblin, counsel for the plaintiff. Matt Dugan, counsel for the defendants. Okay, and counsel, are we ready to begin then with opening statements? We are, Your Honor. All right, well then let's bring in our jurors. We have already named our foreman, so juror 1 is our foreman. All rise. The foreman would like everybody to know that Peter Erblin is bottom of the pick. Matt Dugan is the top pick. And foreman was, were all of our jurors being appropriate in the back room? Okay. Now, the jurors were sworn in late last night after a couple cocktails. We do appreciate you guys coming in late last night for some Christmas cheer. And has the jury been able to withstand Googling or looking up anything with their devices, social media, anything to do with this case? Okay, perfect. We can continue then. Your Honor, Peter Erblin here for the plaintiff. We do have a couple demonstrative exhibits for the opening statement, and we plan on just using the overhead projector for the jurors. Any objection by the defendants? Yeah, no, we stipulated to this. We are aware. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Peter Erblin, and I represent widow Jennifer Drake. Jennifer Drake is the victim and plaintiff in this case. I also represent Jennifer Drake's children, minor children at the time of her husband's murder in 2020, and Drake Chiropractic of North Idaho. Jennifer came to see me at my office just a little over 4 years ago, asking if I would represent her, her children, and her husband's chiropractic business in a wrongful death civil matter. Jennifer Drake came to see me late fall of 2020, which was about 6 to 8 months or so after her husband was murdered. Jennifer's husband and the Drake children's father, Brian Drake, was shot and killed at his Bonners Ferry chiropractic office on Thursday, March 12th, 2020. The Bonners Ferry Police Department and Boundary County Sheriff's Office found Brian Drake dead on the floor of his office exam room just before 8 p.m. on Thursday, March 12, 2020. Prior to law enforcement finding Brian's lifeless body, my client, Jennifer Drake, was having a routine phone call with her husband that began at about 7:17 p.m. on Thursday, March 12, 2020. That phone call ended abruptly due to Brian Drake, her husband, yelling out on the phone, "Ouch, ouch, I think I've been hit. I think something hit me. I think someone just shot me through the window." Those were the final words that Jennifer ever heard from her husband. In this case, you will hear from Jennifer Drake as she describes those final moments in detail. Now, in case you are not familiar, Bonners Ferry and Hayden, Idaho, are about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic and weather conditions. The Drake family, they resided in Hayden, Idaho. and Brian Drake had a practice in Bonners Ferry and would work there 2 days a week. Brian Drake had a consistent schedule that traveled him to Bonners Ferry on Mondays and Thursdays. He would then travel to Sandpoint on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then on Wednesdays during the week, he served locals in Hayden at his practice in Hayden. Now, since Thursday, March 12th, 2020 was a Thursday, Brian Drake was at his Bonners Ferry office that day. Brian would normally leave his home in Hayden around 6:30 a.m. and head to Bonners Ferry, where he would then have a packed workday, seeing patients between 8 and 6 a.m. 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Sometimes he would work late or appointments would run late. On that Thursday, March 12th, 2020, it was the beginning of the coronavirus. And so this is when all of the schools were closing and extracurricular activities were closing. This would be the final couple days, the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, before that Monday, March 16th, when the United States would be shutting down businesses for those 3 weeks. Now, Jennifer and Brian Drake were having a routine call like they always did at the end of Brian's work days when he worked in Bonners Ferry. Now, see, when Brian worked in Bonners Ferry, he would actually spend the night due to the distance and because of where Brian needed to head the next morning on Tuesdays, which was in Sandpoint. Rather than him driving all over back and forth, he would spend the night in his office, get up Tuesday morning, and be at his Sandpoint office, which was then halfway heading back home to Hayden. Brian would then, on Tuesdays, after seeing his patients on Tuesday night, would then go to Hayden, be home with his family. Wednesday, see his patients in Hayden. And then Thursday, make that trip back out to Bonners Ferry, see his patients in Bonners Ferry, spend the night, and then on Friday morning, head to Sandpoint, again, halfway back home to Hayden, where he saw patients in Sandpoint, and then would head on home and be at home for then Friday, Saturday, Sunday evenings. So on this particular Thursday, Brian and Jennifer spoke a tad bit later than normal due to Brian squeezing in some patients at the end of the day. Good friends and long-standing patient of Brian's, Eldora Gatchell, and her brother were Brian's final patients. Jennifer actually interrupted Eldora's appointment when she called and phoned Brian, who picked it up at 6:42 p.m. to let Jennifer know that he was still with patients and that he would call her back when he was finished. Brian would return Jennifer's phone call at that 7:17 p.m. time, and Brian and Jennifer would talk until 7:26, about 9 minutes. Until then, Jennifer heard those final words. When Jennifer was on the phone with her husband, mind you, she's all the way in Hayden, the phone would go black, forcing Jennifer to hang up and call for help. Jennifer called 911, which, because of her location, she was sent to the Kootenai County Dispatch, which they live in Kootenai County. Bonners Ferry is out in Boundary County. Jennifer's phone call would then be patched through the different dispatches until she received the Boundary County Dispatch personnel. Jennifer, on her 911 calls, explained what had happened and gave the address to Brian's Bonners Ferry office to dispatch, where she was requesting someone go help her husband. Because, again, he told her on the phone that he had just been shot. Brian's office in Bonners Ferry was located at 6811 South Main Street, Suite B. Here is an aerial view for the jurors. You guys are going to see a lot of maps, surveillance cameras. And so what I want to do during my opening here is to get you acquainted with this area that you will see throughout the trial. This is opening statement exhibit 1 for those asking. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is an aerial view. We're going to see a bunch of different angles here, but this main street right here that you see, this is Highway 95, also known as Main Street. Right here with the white building top that you see right nestled up with the umbrellas, this is the Far North Coffee Lodge. Directly next to the Far North Coffee Lodge is Brian Drake's office building. Again, nestled right up to 95. Between Brian Drake's office and the Far North Coffee Lodge is a drive-through that is used both for people to go either east or west. Also, if you are getting coffee, there is a drive-through to come around and you could go to use the window and then proceed out. In the back area here, patients of Brian Drake would park in the back behind his building. This is actually where you entered, back by this white vehicle. But there was parking spots along the back here, and then patients would also park up along the side next to where the white vehicle is. Now, they consider this a drive through the dirt path that you will hear us talk about in the back of Brian Drake's and far north. And it leads here to a street that's called El Paso, as you can see. Next to Brian's office on the left side is what we will be referring to as the glass shop. It is the brown building with the black top. The white building here back behind the glass shop is actually a home, or I'm sorry, not a home, but utilities company that works out of there. And then there is a little wood shopping building right here. That is actually where Brian Drake originally had his practice when he first came to Bonners Ferry in 2015. Now, I zoomed out so that you can see directly across from Brian's office is a building, and it's part of Les Schwab. But up above this building is an apartment, and that is where eyewitnesses Isaac Funderburg and his fiancee Aaliyah Sandelin lived. Exhibit 2. As you can see here, the glass shop is on your right-hand part of the portion of the screen. And it's going to then be this is Main Street, Highway 95, same thing. And this is going to then take you, if you continue north, where we're going to be focusing a little bit of our time throughout the trial is to show you where the defendant, Dan Moore's office was, where he was the night of the murder. And so the close proximity of the two buildings. Now, this is a good angle here. Exhibit 3, which is on the rooftop of Les Schwab. Again, to be able to see the drive-through between the far north Coffee Lodge and Brian Drake's building. Exhibit 4. Again, this is Highway 95. The top on the left-hand side, Les Schwab, those high windows is where the apartment was for Isaac Funderburg and Aaliyah Sandelin. And then 95 takes you up, and then we're going to be seeing here on our left-hand side, there is a mobile gas station that will be referred to as Liberty Gas Station with surveillance cameras. Now, as you can see here on 95, there are no stoplights, no stop signs. And prior to getting to Brian Drake's up on the right, you can split off and go left to where the other portion of Les Schwab is, which is off to your left-hand side where cars were worked on. All right, exhibit 5 or 6, those of you guys that are keeping track, I'm going to be taking us now the glass shop all the way down to the bottom. The parking lot also drives through so that you would then be, this is El Paso, and El Paso is the street that would take you behind Brian Drake's. But then as you can see, we have another, it's like a drive, it's a street. And then you would come then to another back street. So there's like 3 streets back here. And this is, we have El Paso, then Tyler, and then the street that's going parallel to El Paso is Hillside Alley. So those are 3 important streets that you're going to be hearing about. So 95 is Main Street, the front of the building. El Paso is right behind the building. And then that 3rd street, so you have Main Street, El Paso, and then the 3rd street is Hillside Alley. Hillside Alley, when driving along it, you will then come to the last building before you get to Harrison Street here. And this right here is Dr. Moore's office building. Right here, next to this little A-frame. The next location that you will hear about is where Dr. Moore was that evening, which was on Harrison at the coroner's, the last house there on the left. And so his office is literally just, I mean, a couple houses down from where he was. Hillside Alley, Tyler, El Paso, and then 95. Over here on your left, this is where the Liberty Camera gas station is, mobile. And there were and still are 2 cameras that we're able to see down this way, down Harrison into the parking lot a little bit of Dr. Moore's, as well as another camera that was angled so that you could see down El Paso here. Again, this is the aerial view, Bonners Ferry, the area that we're talking about. Now, Exhibit 6 is a moving exhibit. And I asked the jury to please notice that on your left, there is your drive-through for your coffee. And as you can see how narrow and small this, it definitely fits 1 car, no problem. But trying to put 2 vehicles down there at the same time obviously is a problem. This is the exam room window that was shot out on the night of the murder. You will hear more about all of the forensics, the evidence that comes through our testimony of Bonners Ferry Assistant Police Chief, as well as Idaho State Police Detective Mike Van Leuven. Now, this is the other angle that we'll be looking at. And this is again 95 coming from, or you could say heading then south, but 95 runs north and south, and Bonner's Ferry, right after Bonner's Ferry, if you're heading on 95, if you're going to continue going north, you would be just 30 minutes from Canada. So heading south is how you would get back to Sandpoint and then to Hayden. The way that Brian Drake came into work those 2 days a week, he would take 95 the whole way, and come right up 95 into the little town here, turn right into his office, park, and he's having patients then around the clock until close time. Exhibit 9, you get a better look here at the Les Schwab building that they're referring to, as it was part of it. The top, you could see the stairs. This is the stairs that and where Isaac Funderburg and Aaliyah Sandlin lived. As you can see, it's right across from Dr. Drake's building. Eyewitness Isaac Funderburg was where this white vehicle is located, changing a license plate at the time that he heard the gunshot. The building right there to your left between the street. Well, there's the street and then the building. So the two buildings with the street between it, that's where they worked on the cars for Les Schwab. There are cameras there, and we show a couple of those cameras. Idaho State Police Detective Michael Van Leuven put together a PowerPoint presentation that takes the movements of a very specific white truck that plaintiff will show you belongs to the defendant, Dan Moore. And you will hear from Detective Van Leuven take almost 88 clips and paste them one after another with a bunch of different camera angles following that vehicle right before the time of the murder, and then movements after the murder. At the time of Brian Drake's murder, his office building featured 3 different businesses that you could potentially have. There was 3 suites, one of which was not being utilized at the time. Patients would enter from the back door. It's a glass door here. Brian Drake's appointments were every 15 minutes. And on the opposite side, Brian's office, he occupied the left side of this office building when coming in from the back glass doors. And on the right-hand side, that building, or that portion of the building, was occupied by financial advisor Kip Hartman. All right, we do not need this anymore. Oh, wait, one last one. There you go. And that's the entry. Glass door right there. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are here because of the words and actions of the defendant, Daniel Lee Moore. We are here because a father has been prematurely taken away from his children, because a husband has been prematurely taken and separated from his wife, a son separated from his loving parents, a child of God who is spreading the word throughout his worship and through his affiliation with his church. Patients who lost their healing doctor. I proudly represent Jennifer Drake, and I've proudly represented her for the past 4 years. The reason that it's taken 4 years is because this case was stayed due to a criminal case. Due to a criminal case being presented after the arrest of Daniel Lee Moore due to his confession and the evidence that law enforcement collected throughout a 6-month investigation, where you will hear that they interviewed over 200 people. No stone went left unturned in this investigation. It was during COVID, which brought on some difficulties navigating and working a murder investigation during what was the onset of COVID. But you will hear and see that the defendant confessed in a recorded interview to law enforcement for being the sole responsible party to firing a single gunshot to the office window of my client, Jennifer Drake's husband's window on Thursday, March 12, 2020. You'll come to learn that Daniel Lee Moore is a chiropractor in the same competing profession as my client's husband was. My client, prior to filing her claim, attended a preliminary hearing in October of 2020, where she saw and heard the confessions herself. The same confessions you will hear and see. What the evidence will show you through this trial is that on Thursday, March 12, 2020, Daniel Lee Moore did exactly what he said he did in his interrogation. But prior to his confession, you're going to hear from law enforcement that built a case off of the movements of Daniel Lee Moore. Please don't hold it against my client that law enforcement had some hiccups and due to a Miranda violation, saw a confession that happened within less than an hour and a half. Would be seen as inadmissible and coercive. The evidence will show you that Jennifer Drake believes the words of Daniel Lee Moore because it backs the movements. And that Jennifer Drake and her children should not suffer because the police made mistakes. We don't have the burden of beyond a reasonable doubt. We have the burden of that Daniel Lee Moore, more than likely, probably, is the responsible party for Brian Drake no longer being here. It's that simple. Thank you. Well, PD. Well, PD. Honorable Sue Jansen. Well, thank you, counsel. Jurors, did you need a break? Are you okay? Did you need water? Okay. Okay. Mr. Dugan, are you ready to proceed with your close or your opening? Yes, yes. If you could just hold my beer for a second there, Sue. Thank you. All right, here we go. Foreman, are we good? Nobody needs a break there? Okay. All right. Where's my water? All right, there you go. That is a defense attorney or the defendant. Let's put him up there. And that is all right, Matt Dugan for the I'll probably put for that. So Matt. All right, there you go. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Hello, my name is Matt Dugan, and I do represent Dan and Karen Moore. And I would like to add that I proudly represent Dr. Dan Moore. What would be seen as Jane Doe in the filing. I talked with Karen, and it was very important that Karen wanted everybody to know, the jurors especially, is that Karen is not Jane Doe. Karen is the proud wife of her husband, Daniel Lee Moore, who was falsely accused of a murder that he did not commit. And I have a very, very important job ahead of me, very important matter, which is helping secure the opinion of all of you to find my clients not liable for the death of fellow chiropractor Dr. Brian Drake. First of all, on behalf of the Moores, we agree with Peter. Brian Drake was all of those things, not because we knew Brian Drake, but because how could a dad and a husband and a son and an uncle and a friend and a doctor not be all of those great things to all of those important people in his life? Brian Drake won't just miss those relationships, but Brian Drake will miss milestones in his life. The weddings of his children, the birth of grandchildren, holidays, vacations, graduations, the joys of healing patients daily. My clients sympathize for the loss of Brian Drake. All of Bonners Ferry sympathize for the loss of one of their community members on that fateful Thursday in March 2020. But ladies and gentlemen, my clients, Dan and Karen Moore, they are not responsible in any way, shape, or form for the death of Brian Drake. The Moores want true justice for Brian Drake. Why? Well, because it's very simple. Because the truth exonerates Dan Moore and provides Brian Drake with the truth. The people that love Brian Drake with the truth. This case, the murder of Brian Drake, never went to trial. There was not a criminal trial. My client, Dan Moore, has never been found guilty based off of the evidence, has never had his day in court. My client should be presumed innocent. You jurors, if you've ever watched a movie or a television show, you always hear the lawyers say that their client is innocent or that the evidence is weak against their client. Well, in this case, you're going to hear something extraordinary because this is an extraordinary case. You'll hear lawyers sometimes say that, oh, the case is circumstantial or it's got to be beyond a reasonable doubt. But what you rarely will hear a lawyer say to a jury is that there is no evidence against my client. No evidence. In fact, the only reason we are here today is because law enforcement violated the rights, my client's rights, 4 years ago. And instead of law enforcement correcting a huge wrong to an innocent man, and prior to violating his rights in August of 2020, law enforcement failed to conduct a proper investigation, which would have put law enforcement in a position where the murder of Brian Drake could have been quickly solved, rather quickly. So what I'm going to ask you jurors is to hold me accountable, as well as the plaintiff's attorney. Hold us accountable to our opening statements. Because if you hold us accountable to our words in opening statements, and then you use the evidence that comes out to compare to what we said in opening statements, with this case, you will have come to the very simple and logical and common sense conclusion that Dan Moore and Karen Moore are not liable for the death of Brian Drake and all the claims that go along and made by Jennifer Drake against my clients. The evidence that you will hear in this case does not support the story that will be told and has been told by law enforcement. In fact, the ME's report in the autopsy doesn't even support Idaho State Police Detective Michael Van Leuven's theory on how Brian Drake was shot. Number two, the eyewitnesses' statements in this case, as well as the surveillance cameras, when combined and told in concert, tell a completely different narrative than reported by law enforcement and people that reported things to law enforcement. There are missing 911 calls. There's no chain of custody on evidence. There is missing evidence from the scene, was not gathered. There is missing recorded interviews. There is absolutely no DNA in this case. There's no murder weapon. There is no motive. There is no connection between Brian Drake and Dan Moore. They don't have the same friends, no family friends. They weren't coworkers. Daniel Moore and Brian Drake never even met, never talked to each other, didn't know each other. They were strangers. My client, Dan Moore, has never had so much as a parking ticket. You guys know the term vanilla. Some of your grandkids use it. Some of our kids use it. Well, Dan probably won't like this, but I think that Dr. Dan Moore is probably one of the most vanilla guys I've ever met. Dan Moore was a successful chiropractor. Dan Moore is a family man. And I say was, and that's very important, was a very successful chiropractor. Dan Moore at the time of the murder was 63. 63. Just welcomed his first grandchild. Him and Karen bought their dream home, getting ready to move into. Karen was a school nurse, taking care of all the kids in the community. Karen raised their beautiful children. And then Karen, too, herself just began helping her daughter with her first grandbaby. And that brings me to my next point, which is alibis. My clients have alibis. Karen Moore was in Coeur d'Alene with her daughter, helping with their grandbaby. And Dan Moore, his alibi witness is the coroner and friend Mick Millett. Who, by the way, passed the polygraph. You'll find out that law enforcement asked Mick Millett to take a polygraph due to being Dan's alibi witness, but didn't ask my client to take a polygraph. Why not? There's one thing that Peter didn't mention in his opening, but I will be mentioning it, is I want you guys to ask yourselves why you're here. Why are we here? There has to be something. Why are we here? Well, the plaintiff said Dan confessed to police in a recorded interview. Yes, he said those words that law enforcement wanted him to say, that was fed to him after he asked for a lawyer 8 times while he was on medication mixed with multiple pills and a concussion. I'm sure we've all heard of the Innocence Project. The Innocence Project, ladies and gentlemen, exists because people get it wrong sometimes. Not only do people get it wrong sometimes, but people make false confessions. DNA has exonerated numerous people who have confessed to crimes that they did not commit. A judge in this case, during the criminal proceeding, determined that Dr. Moore's confession was a byproduct of misconduct by law enforcement, by using coercive tactics and by violating his Miranda rights. This confession can never be used in a criminal court proceeding. So ask yourself, if there was all this evidence against my client, who cares about the confession? We go to court every single day in criminal matters without confessions. Why hasn't law enforcement recharged and refiled to charge Dr. Dan Moore, my client, with the murder of Brian Drake? Because it's simple. Because the state can't even meet the smallest of burden of probable cause. And Jennifer Drake, the plaintiff, knows this. She was told this by 2 courts. In a civil trial, though, like we are here, my client doesn't get to enjoy the right to remain silent. And so here we are, because of these extraordinary circumstances. The Moores have asked me to prove to the jury that Dan didn't do it, and show the jury who probably more likely than not is involved. Because you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Dan feels that the jurors won't understand how someone could say they did something that they didn't do. Dan and Karen both know that before they ever went through this nightmare, they too would be in the boat of, how could anybody say that they killed somebody that they didn't kill? Like, wow, no way. Dan and Karen asked me to prove to the jury with evidence to be able to show the jurors that it is actually more probable than not that someone else killed Brian Drake. Dan and Karen Moore know what you guys are already thinking. And so they've made that request that, please. So over the past 4 years since Dan was arrested, he's had a criminal defense attorney, he's had investigators, he's had researchers, he's had experts. Dan and Karen Moore have poured everything into investigating and putting the pieces together and the criminal discovery that law enforcement failed to do, because that's Dan and Karen's only way. That's how they feel. So in order to do what Dan and Karen are asking, this isn't something that just is happening here in these next 5 to 7 to 10 days. This is something that has been taking years to do. The Moores have done their own investigation. They've conducted their own interviews through depositions to provide you, the jurors, with the actual evidence or lack thereof by law enforcement not doing their job properly. That Jennifer Drake, Eldora Gatchell, and Caleb Kokona-Zara were never properly vetted, and that their statements made to law enforcement should have been known as not truthful statements if they would have followed protocol and procedure with vetting those statements. Eldora Gatchell and Caleb Kokona-Zara were the last people to see Dr. Drake alive. Lying to police officers is how one would obstruct justice. Obstruct justice for Brian Drake. I want all of you jurors to know that Dan and Karen Moore are victims of our criminal justice system that is supposed to protect us. And I believe that it is more probable than not that you will see that Dan and Karen Moore are also victims of Jennifer Drake. Jennifer Drake's knowing pursuit of Dan and Karen Moore, my clients, with this lawsuit. But the evidence that she says will show and know that Dan Moore is innocent, actually. Because the evidence suggests that Jennifer Drake actually knows who killed her husband. That's what the evidence suggests. Jennifer Drake came out and told the world by means of the media in interviews in March of 2023 that Dan Moore is 100% guilty of murdering her husband, and everybody knows it. We just need more evidence. We need more. Well, Jennifer Drake possessed the almost entire criminal criminal discovery in her husband's murder case. The answers lie in the criminal discovery. I believe that after you hear and see all the evidence for yourselves, that you too would feel emotional distress and economic hardship if somebody was going out into the media and telling them that you're 100% guilty of murder. Who would ever want to go and see a chiropractor and have somebody work on them with their bare hands? When the widow is saying, that man, 100%, we know that he killed my husband. Now, when does it become defamation? If you know the statement that you made, if you have prior knowledge that it is not true. And so therefore, if she knows who actually did kill her husband, saying that he's 100% guilty of the murder of her husband, that would be defamation if she has prior knowledge of the truth. The evidence will show you that Brian Drake avoided his wife, hid his locations from her, hid his phones from her, hid his passwords, hid his money, hid his affairs, hid his women. Brian wasn't hiding or avoiding Dr. Dan Moore. Dan Moore wasn't constantly checking his Life 360 app to see where Brian Drake was. Dan Moore, Karen Moore, they didn't receive a $1 million life insurance policy check 3 weeks after the murder. Dan Moore, Karen Moore didn't gain anything by the death of Brian Drake. Dan Moore's books on his business will show that his business actually grew every year from 2015 to 2020, the time frame that Dr. Drake was in Bonners Ferry. His business didn't decline because he was losing patients to a doctor that was in town 2 days a week. The evidence will show that Jennifer Drake misrepresented her lifestyle and marriage to law enforcement, was not truthful about questions that were important type motive type questions. Was there any infidelity in the past? Did you have any problems in your marriage? No, never. The evidence shows otherwise. My clients, Dan and Karen Moore, were run out of Bonners Ferry, the place that they called home for decades, due to police not doing their job and because of the death of Brian Drake that was not caused by Dan Moore. But by others that had a motive. Brian Drake was worth 1 million times more dead than alive. Divorce was not an option for Jennifer Drake. I ask you, the jurors, to not hold my clients responsible for the shortcomings of law enforcement and the police not being good at their job. But most importantly, please don't hold it against an innocent, a factually innocent person in Dan Moore, that he collapsed to law enforcement's coercive tactics. This case will show you that you, me, any of us could be Dan and Karen Moore. Thank you. All right, counsel. This was like a great point to stop and give our jurors a chance to stretch their legs. Also, we're going to hear from our, hey, Drake Moore trial watchers. We want to hear from you guys during our break here so our jurors can use the restroom, grab a cigarette, be a lally and huff away, pee break, you know. Thank you, Miss Q. Hit some bongs, you know. I'm going to share. I had told Annie Potts that I wanted her to, let's see, paste. She's got to hit that link. We are going to be hearing from the plaintiff's first witness here in 15 minutes. But first, let's hear from trial analyst with Court TV, Annie Potts, going to weigh in here on the plaintiff and defendant's opening statements. Want to hear from Annie Potts. So we're going to hear from our Court TV's new analyst by mock trial purposes. We'll call it TV Court. Oh, I can't right now. What are you doing? Are you swinging? Well, somebody click the link. We'll fire Annie and we're with TV Court and we're going to rehire. Oh my God, you need a, hey there, Drake Moore trial watchers. There you go. We'll let the foreman weigh in. Go ahead. You know who should really weigh in? You just got to hit the link and don't come on panel with like your face or anything. Well, we fired Annie Potts. There she is.
Here I am.
All right. Hi there, foreman. How are you?
I'm fine. You did a lovely job. I didn't think I was going to end up with 2 full pages of notes, but I did.
Okay, good. Well, then we'll start here with the opening statement for the plaintiffs. What'd you think there in terms of heavily going to be relying on that confession, right?
Okay. I just plugged my headphones in. Am I going to be heavily relying on that confession? Is that
No. I'm saying based on, I'm saying, what were your...
I think that the prosecution is, right? Like that's...
Yeah, plaintiff, yep. Mm-hmm.
The plaintiff, sorry. I think that that seems to be the only thing they have. Aside from, I believe the way it was said was, we'll be able to stitch together a timeline of video or something of the white truck. So big about the white truck and then big about the confession.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. The white truck and the confession. Those are, I think it'll be interesting. I think also Peter Erblin's going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the fact that Dan Moore allegedly tried to commit suicide through means of a gas leak. But I also think there could be is that too far-fetched? You don't want to lose your jury. But that was the only other thing that is to weigh in if you would even want to go that route, which is an option for Peter Erblin to talk about. But I think that I know that if I was Peter, I wouldn't be talking about that because I think that it's on its face absolutely ridiculous. But especially when the testimony of the witnesses does not back that. So I don't think that I would want to put myself in a situation like that to be stating something that when you're going to have these witnesses, take the stand and say, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that, so.
And so
And,
that would be the only other real thing
Ye
they have to qualify, right?
to try. Yeah, I mean, yes.
Lots of questions about the slight LE hiccups with the Miranda violation.
Yep, I think
Some
he's
nice
gonna.
wordsmithing on your part, by the way.
You like that?
I appreciated
that. Just a couple hiccups there, and you know what? I think he is gonna have to bring up COVID. I think that may help the jury maybe, be like, "Oh, but it was COVID." I would use that if I was Peter Erblin, to my advantage, if I thought that I could, use that, for there being possibly hiccups that normally wouldn't have happened, but again, I think, I don't think that he really needs to be the one that's coming out swinging in opening statements, because he has this confession, and I mean, that's really what they're gonna roll with,
And it's a video confession too, correct?
Mhm, mhm. Alright, so let's move it on over to the defense. What'd you think of the opening statements?
So the defense, let's see. Well, I very much appreciated that there seemed to be lack of motive for these two people. Didn't seem like there was a lot of motive to begin with. There was their ages, there was their what they do, there was where they were in their lives at that time. Um, and then there was the fact that what did you say that I was like, wait, what?
Well, as far as where they were in their lives, the Morse had just bought their dream home. They just had a grandbaby. Um,
That Eldora and what's his name? What
oh, Caleb. They were the final two patients.
Caleb, right?
Yeah,
With this,
Caleb. Yeah,
okay. So
CAL.
that they weren't vetted at all, and they just took what they said, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And then there was the whole thing about there was no DNA, there was no chain
No
of
murder.
custody,
Mhm.
there's missing 911 calls, there's missing interviews, there's like nothing that crosses over these guys at all, except for that it seems like they could create a narrative to blame it on them. And then
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting how they try to introduce these 911 calls. It's gonna be very interesting, because there is no chain of custody with these 911 calls. I mean, you're gonna have to try to go through Van Leuven, and he refused to even do it during the preliminary hearing. And so I expect some fireworks coming out when, this first witness is called, depending on if Peter Urblin's going with, Marty Ryan or, Van Leuven. Marty Ryan is the assistant police chief, for Bonner's Ferry at the time. Or is he gonna go with, Marty or Detective Mike Van Leuven from the Idaho State Police? The reason I'm interested to see what Peter Urban decides to do is because at the preliminary hearing, the state, Tevis Hall, at the preliminary hearing, opened it with, he did not call Marty Ryan. He went straight with Detective Van Leuven, and they had to remove Detective Van Leuven off the stand to then try to get a 911 call, um, in through means of Jennifer Drake, which is very, very
once he
interesting.
was
Is
on the stand, then
Yeah,
they got
you're
him off the stand to put the other.
to then bring Jennifer Drake up, and then they tried to, because Jill Bolton, the defense attorney of Dan Moore's at the time for the preliminary hearing, she stipulated to having a 911 call in, in evidence, but they had never played the 911 call And then at the end, they decided to withdraw the 911 call and not put it in. And so there's going to be some fireworks here. And then when I kick back up here in about 5 minutes, when we kick out the gate here with the first witness.
The other thing that I thought was very about we don't have a criminal trial.
Yeah, there was no
There's
trouble.
a
Yep.
reason, like the state could have brought it back by 2. So I wrote that down in my burning questions. Like, so Jennifer was told by 2 different state places that they can't meet their burden of proof.
Well, yeah, because they were asked when Judge Buchanan, the district judge, tossed the confession saying, not only is this Miranda violation, but this is what you coerced this man. And so she tossed it for Miranda violation and then coercive tactics. Then the state appealed it to the higher courts, where the Supreme Court upheld the fact that, yes, this was clear Miranda violations, but we don't believe that it fits coercive tactics, because usually they say it's got to be like, hours and hours and hours, stuff like that. But even still, Judge Buchanan said, unless you can't use this. So if this is the only thing you have is this confession, like, what else are you putting forward for probable cause for me to let you arrest Dan Moore? And they said, well, it's our probable cause warrant minus that. And so it said, no, you didn't meet probable cause to even get an arrest warrant.
Wow. Well, that hit me hard. So
Exactly. So it's going to come up it got dismissed without prejudice then, which means at any point in time. So the other thing that is big, and I'm curious to see how the defense team wants to go about it, and to say, like, Dan Moore doesn't have the luxury of remaining silent here in the civil case, and anything that he says can and will be used against him. And so it's very, nerve-wracking. That's very, because here they twisted what he said before. Like, first of all, they didn't do their job. They should have never even been interviewing Dan Moore. He doesn't even, basically, you don't even get to him within the first week of the case, because this should have taken you left instead of the way that they all went, which was right. And so it's just wild. But what else? What other strong points there with the opening for the defense? Anything else? Oh, did it help
concussion, the
the
medication.
concussion? Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And there was
Did
something else.
Did it help to see in the beginning with the opening to reference the points with the
It did.
Everything that I was showing?
It did. However, I was spending more time looking at those than I was writing down when those things were up. So, but you showed the same picture in so many different ways that
Mhm.
even I have a really, like, I'm mind blind. I have a real bad sense of direction. So even I got an understanding of the area. If you had shown it in little pieces, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah,
If
it's
that
way
makes
better
sense.
with the aerial, right?
Yeah, and then for you to say, well, then for the it to be presented like, okay, this is the building and this is across from the other building, and then there's this behind it. At first, it was a little overwhelming, but
Mhm.
it was explained in a way that was like, if I can't be there, then it gave me a understanding of the area in a way that I don't think pictures just do.
Yeah,
But I don't
I
think
think
you
it's
could
gonna
do
be
that
important for the
without.
prosecution to do, or for the plaintiff to do that,
Right.
because that's a really big part of their case, is like, if they're gonna be following this truck around, you know what I mean? So,
Where everything is in relation to everything else, right?
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
it's a little area.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like basically, if you, like, leave your house that day at that time, whoop, you will, it's crazy when you start thinking about it in terms of, like, what they're about to say. Um, but no, I think you gave some really good feedback there. Anything that that you would have liked to hear that you didn't hear, um,
Hmm.
you can let me know.
I I would put street names on those 3 streets. on the pictures, like on
Okay,
top of them.
nice. We'll mark those up
That's
for
what I
you.
would have done. But other than that, nope. I'm just listening. Although I don't know if we're supposed to take everything in openings as fact or
No,
not.
it's never as fact. It's just,
Okay.
I mean, yeah. But you're supposed to take what's they're being said in openings and apply, like, if lawyers are, promising you the world and then nothing's happening, and that's the
Mhm.
bad sign.
I
So
wrote
they always
down the
say the worst thing
promises.
you can ever do is over deliver. But I almost think, like, in this situation, Dr. Moore's team's gonna have to come out, like, and really you want to get the attention of these jurors to say, like, you know,
Yep.
"All right, cool. Well, you rock for 'em and get back to your job. Go have some, chain
Thanks.
vaping down in there, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Will do.
Bye."
Catch you in a little while. Bye.
All right. The actual content of nonsense in any interview that was conducted. All right, back. So we are doing witness number uno. And I'm going to go with my gut here. And I'm going to say that Peter Erbling's going to come out with chief, assistant ex-chief, because he retired. Witness number one. Ex-assistant police chief Marty Ryan. And then here's a picture so you guys can associate these people. Are we back in session, Sherry D? Yeah, we are. We're about to bring on the all right, please. All rise, honorable. Come on down here, Judge Jansen. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You guys may be seated. All right, before we get started here with the plaintiff's first witness, just wanted to make sure that we're using those stickers for the exhibits for our jurors to be able to see those clearly that are keeping their notes. So make sure that we go slow around the name of the exhibit. Thank you. Okay. All right, we're going to bring back in the jury. Foreman. Okay, how was your guys' break? Everybody all good? No talking about, no discussing the case. You didn't make any phone calls to the police department? Well, okay, no Google. Okay, great. All knows. Perfect. Great insight, says DMC. Great insight, Mayor. Great. All right, counsel for plaintiff, you can call your first witness. All right. Plaintiff will call retired assistant chief of police Bonners Ferry Marty Ryan to the stand. There he is. Whoopsies. Okay, we're back on the record. We're going to swear you in there. Do you swear to tell the... Yep, sure do. Oh, let me put this up. There you go. So this will be the plaintiff questioning Marty Ryan as plaintiff's first witness. All right, good afternoon there, Mr. Ryan. Good afternoon. And can you spell your last name there? R-Y-A-N, Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N. Okay, thank you. Mr. Ryan, what occupation, you're retired now? Yes, I am retired, living in Virginia. And back in 2020, what was your position? You were with the Bonner Ferry Police Department? Yes, that I was. I was the assistant police chief. Okay. And can you describe your background with law enforcement prior to becoming the assistant police chief in 2020 at the time of the murder? Oh, well, yeah. I've been involved with law enforcement since the 80s. In the 90s, I went over and served my country well over there in Afghanistan. And so then I came back to Idaho. I was with the Spokane Police Department. I was with LA Police Department. I did a little time in Montana, Sandpoint. So my background's been pretty much law enforcement out the womb. Great. Okay. Now on Thursday, March 12th, 2020, how were you notified of an incident that happened at 6811 Main Street? We asked to call one out over dispatch that either shot or shots had been fired over in the area of somebody had heard shots over in the area of 6811 Main Street. And so I was not brought to the scene until after they had found Brian Drake. Who responded initially then to the scene with the calls? Well, we had members from the Boundary County Sheriff's Department and members from Bonner's Ferry Police Department. So Brandon Johnson was working that night with the Bonner's Ferry Police Department, as well as Boundary County Sheriff deputies Alan Schleff, Travis Stoley, who is now sheriff, Dustin Schmidt, Mike Venezuela. And now you would say that you're, how many people live in Bonner's Ferry? Oh, about 3,000 people. So it's a small community. Yes, very small, very tight community. Okay. And can you tell us what your role was in this investigation of the murder of Dr. Brian Drake? Well, mostly being a liaison between our agency and the Idaho State Police. I assisted them locally when we could be of any assistance at all. We initially called in Idaho State Police relatively soon, quickly. I think it was like 9 p.m. that night that we had called in there for their assistance. Okay, so then did you actually conduct any investigative interviews before the Idaho State Police took over? I don't think I actually led any interviews up. So you didn't conduct any interviews? Oh, I think I did have one that I don't know if I would say it was an interview, more just I talked to one of the, with the neighborhood canvas, an eyewitness named Isaac Funderburg I had spoke with outside 6811 around 8:30 or 9:30 that night. I think it was like 9:30 actually. Okay, so you said eyewitness Isaac Funderburg? Yes. Okay. And so what did you learn through the initial interaction with Isaac Funderburg? Well, he had said that around 7:30, he thought it was, that he had heard a gunshot or gunshots. He stayed at the apartment across the way from 6811 Brian Drake's office. He was putting on, he was doing something with his fiance's car, and he had heard the gunshots, and then said he had seen a figure kind of like walking and then running from the side of the building that evening. Okay. Do you recall if that person, Isaac Funderburg, did he had called 911 in reference to hearing the gunshots? Yes, actually he did. Isaac Funderburg did call 911. There was actually a couple calls, 911 calls that came in. Right. So were you involved in that? You knew what was going on with that witness, right? So you knew what was going on with Isaac Funderburg. Can you describe for us, if you will, so we can kind of explain what kind of description did Isaac Funderburg give you of the man that he saw running? Was it right after the gunshots? Well, let's see. It was the man, he saw a man that was dressed in dark clothing with a hoodie, and a beanie, I believe, maybe facial hair. I don't really recall if he said actually a beanie, but it was the best description that he could give was it was some type of hoodie, black, facial hair. Okay. And you went then to follow up with that. Did you follow up with that? Did you try to talk to anybody in town that does surveillance video work? Yes, that is correct. And who did you go and see? The name was Jones. He assists law enforcement from time to time simply because, he manages the different systems of the different businesses. He has their surveillance systems. Okay. So did you actually work with him, or were you able to get some video surveillance footage on the night of the murder of Dr. Brian Drake? No, ma'am. Well, actually, he's going to be saying this to Peter Erbling, so no, sir. You didn't get any footage? No. You didn't talk to Jones about what he found on surveillance footage? No. See, the next day, Jones had called me earlier and said that he had seen something that matched somewhat from what he had observed, what we observed, what that witness had said. But I saw no footage that evening. But the next morning, so the 13th, as I recall it, and this is to the best of my recollection, sir, I've not reviewed those actual reports in God knows how much. It's been a long time. Okay, so in quite some time, But by the next morning, Jones had contacted me, and he had reviewed video that he thought could be of assistance. Okay, and he told you, question, that there's something I want you to see. Is that kind of how that went? Yeah, the next day. So the next day being March 13th, right? Yes. Okay. And what time did Idaho State Police get there? Well, they arrived at 9 a.m. on the 13th. So from March 12th, at the time, from the time that you guys arrive on scene, which was 7:53 p.m. Does that sound about right? Yes, that sounds about right. 7:53, we found Dr. Drake. Yes. Okay. So from 7:53 p.m. on March 12th until then, March 13th at 9 o'clock in the morning, were you in charge of the scene? Yes. Well, I had people there. Yep. And we had the Boundary County Sheriff, so we collectively did it. Yes. Okay. Now, when Jones told you that, hey, I think I found something you might want to see, did you go down and watch that footage? Yeah, the next day I did. Okay. And when you were watching that footage, were you able to actually identify who that person was that this Jones guy wanted to point out? Um, well, the footage, the video was the suspect. I'm not clear of your question. Like he had found a guy that was dressed in all black. Yes. Okay. And that matched the description of the suspect that was given by Funderburg. Well, yes, just in the fact that it was black clothing and it was around the time that we were looking for, at 7:30 time. Okay. Were you able to go and watch the video? Because after talking to Mr. Jones and giving him the description that you got from Isaac Funderburg, he said, "Oh, you've got to come look at this." Yeah, pretty much correct. And so you went down and you looked at it. Correct. And because he had found someone that matched the description that you had given him, that the witness had given you, is that it was somewhat consistent with what, we were looking for. Yes. So a guy in a hoodie was part of the description. Yes, right. But it was also a guy that looked like the guy works at the gas station, right? But that was another comparison, sure, yeah. Did Isaac Funderburg give any distinguishing features, if anything came up in light of that conversation? Again, this was, ooh, that part of the investigation was put off to the side so quickly by the end of that day that, my apologies, I can't recall all the exact parts of it. It just didn't pertain to anything else that we did. Um, I may not be exact in what I'm trying to say when it comes to all the particulars of the description, but that next day, the morning after the shooting, we had a rough idea from one possible witness of a suspect that was wearing dark clothing and in the area on foot and a hoodie. So, any other distinguishing features? How about skin color? I recall, and I can't recall if it was a goatee, I just a little beard. Okay, but again, I I'm gonna have to say, mm, well, did you have any personal knowledge of the skin color that was given? Was there white, black? Well, he had described that it looked like the guy that worked at Bieber Sonark that worked at the Liberty gas station. So he is I believe he is Indian descent. Okay. Now, did you guys put out a Nexel alert or anything like that to alert the community that there had been gunshots or that there was a homicide? Yes, we had sent out a couple. I don't recall the details of what time or when, what they said, but yeah, it was alerting the community that there was suspicious activity in the area, and then we told people to stay away from that area, and then we announced that actually the call that Isaac Funderburg had made, we put out that over the radio. If anybody was listening to the scanners, we put out that we were looking for somebody, dark with hoodie and things like that. And then in the late evening, right before midnight, I believe it was, that we put out that there was a homicide to let the community know. Okay. And during the course of your investigation, well, just that small window, I guess you could say, before you were, the ISP took over, did anybody call in to give any tips in the first couple days that pertain to my client, Jennifer Drake? No, nobody called in any tips about Jennifer Drake, no. Okay. Okay. Ex-police chief here, Assistant Police Chief Marty Ryan. So you guys have policies and procedures that you have in place, through your employment, right? Yes, we do. And are some of that are put out by your department, Bonners Ferry Police Department, right? Yes. And you have those available, and you can share them with us if we ask for them? Yes, sure. I mean, I don't have them with me. But when you were a police officer, there was procedure and policies, and you would follow those to the best of your ability, right? And some of the policies include you should write clear and accurate police reports, correct? Yes. And you do that, correct, sir? Yes. Would you sometimes make mistakes on what you would put in your reports? Well, I would think that I'm human. I can make mistakes, sure. But can you just tell the jury what the process is? You look it over your report. Do you have somebody check it out, make sure that you didn't get something wrong? Or how would you, do it to make sure that you have quality assurance in writing a report? Well, every report is different, and we write hundreds and hundreds of reports. So you can't say there's a flat line for anything that we do, what we do when it comes to each different report when writing it up. But as a norm, on a more complicated report, you would have it proofread by a partner or like a supervisor that you respect, and make sure you didn't, mangle the English language in some way. Sure. Okay. But you are a supervisor, right? Well, I was. Yep. Okay. So you have to do that for some of the guys that you supervise over, right? Yes. Or gals. Yep. Okay. So in this case, did you write any reports for this case? Yes, I did. Okay. Yeah, I wrote a report shortly after the death of Brian. I believe it I think it was like the day after. Okay. And you do that to summarize what your role was and what you did in the case? Yes. And have you looked at that recently, your report, or at some time, before coming here today to refresh your memory about, what you put in there? Uh, I proofread it, I guess some yesterday, just went over to try to recall some dates and times and stuff like that. But, it was 4 years ago. Okay. And so then you also looked at the report that you would have wrote up. Did you write one up after you interviewed Dr. Moore on August 27th, 2020 for his interrogation? Were you there for the, yes, I was there. I glanced over that as well. Okay, so you were called in after Detective Van Leuven and Detective Tolson left the room. You guys were unclear if Dan Moore had invoked his right to counsel, correct? That's correct. Yep, I was in the room outside, and we were actually going over. We were on the. We had a tape running as well, so we had reviewed that, and we were going back and forth, deciding if, the language that Dr. Moore had used, if he had asked for a lawyer or not. Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the plaintiff moves to admit and publish for the jury to see the interrogation or interview of Dr. Moore if the opposing counsel does not have any objections to it being introduced, so that the questions that pertain to this witness can then be asked. Yep, no objection here. All right, so all right, jurors, we are going to be playing the jurors will see this interview. Plaintiff's counsel is loading up the Hector 1999 version, so hang tight.
gas leak at your building.
Yeah.
I found it incredibly.
Sergeant Van Leuven, I'm Detective Gary Thomas. Okay, I'm a senior detective here at the State Police.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay, it's 2:49, August 27th, 2020. This is Detective Sergeant Van Leuven at Tulsa, and we're here interviewing Dr. Dan regarding the homicide of Dr. Roderick. So, Mr. Moore, I talked to you before, and we talked about the gas leak at your building.
Yeah.
I found it incredibly curious that you have two chiropractors within such proximity to each other, both suffer such traumatic events.
Okay, quick for our jurors. Ex-police assistant chief Marty Ryan's on the stand here, and this interview will begin with Detective Van Leuven and Detective Tolson from the Idaho State Police. Then we will see and have Marty Ryan identify himself when he then comes on screen. So for the jurors, this is the interrogation and the interview. Plaintiff Exhibit 1 that will speak for itself.
In such close time.
Right.
And I wondered if maybe someone had something out for chiropractic. And I wondered if maybe someone had something out for chiropractic. And I wondered if maybe someone for chiropractors. And then I thought, well, maybe you're responsible for the good doctor's death, and you maybe meant to scare him, but didn't mean to shoot him, and you felt so bad about it that you attempted to commit suicide.
No, sir.
Okay. So you brought in a gun today for us to take a look at.
Yes.
You said that the night that happened, that you were at your friend Nick's house.
Right.
Were you with him up until you said that you were there when the call came in?
Yeah.
But you also said that you left and you'd gone to your office because you were sick.
Yeah, I had diarrhea.
And in listening to our interview before, it's unclear to me whether or not that time period was before or after the call came in when the shooting happened. Because Nick says he thought it was, that he's absolutely certain that you didn't leave until after the call came in.
Right.
Is that your recollection?
Yeah.
So you said you got to his house about when?
I don't. I mean, it's been so long, I don't even remember.
Okay, he said a little after 6.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
I go there almost every night, so we just have dinner, usually watch some TV, and that's the end of it.
Who'd you go there with?
Just myself.
Just yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, how'd you get there?
My vehicle.
What vehicle?
I think my truck.
Oh, what kind of truck do you have?
A Toyota.
Okay, what color is your Toyota?
White.
All right, so you put there in your white Toyota
I believe so.
by yourself. And then at some point the call came in that there had been the shooting.
Mhm.
You were sick.
Yeah.
Went to your office, used the bathroom.
Yeah.
Came back to his house.
I don't know if I came back to his house because he was leaving. Maybe that was how it happened.
You said before something about getting some Imodium or some Motrin or something like that.
Oh, he gave me some Imodium before I left. That's right.
Okay.
And then I called my wife on the way home. And so I wasn't feeling good. I was going to bed.
When you left his house to go to your office, did you drive anywhere else?
So
Just straight to your office?
I don't remember. I think I did. That's all I can remember.
When you went home, how did you go home?
I pulled out and the police had block on the left-hand side, so I went around and went home that way.
Period. So, how long have you owned that truck?
I'm not sure, 6 months, something like that.
Well, this happened about 5 months ago, so you say you had about a month before the homicide of Dr. Drake?
I think so, but I couldn't tell you exactly when I got it.
You drive it?
Sometimes, yeah.
Your wife drive it?
No, it's me.
Your son is in Germany?
Mhm.
Was he home on leave or anything like that?
No,
Does he drive, so he doesn't drive your truck?
no.
I need to advise you of your Miranda rights too, just because we're in a police station. Before you're asking any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent, however, anything that you do say can be used against your court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you're asking any questions and to have them with you during questioning. You have the right to advice in presence of a lawyer, even if you can't afford to hire one. And if you're unable to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. If you wish to answer questions or make any statements at this time without a lawyer being present, you have the right to refuse to answer any questions and to have this interview terminated at any time. You understand your rights?
Sure.
Okay. Now, do we need to go back and ask all those questions over again?
I mean, it's not gonna change.
So, you didn't try to commit suicide,
No, sir.
you didn't shoot Brian Drake,
No, sir.
you did go to your friend's house
Yes,
by yourself,
yes.
driving your white truck.
Yeah.
You don't have any idea what happened to Mr. Drake.
I don't. I mean, I've got patients that do them, but I personally have never met him.
So,
All right. So, here, let me tell you some electronic things. So we're gonna go into this the easy way, and so we want you to understand what we understand, okay? So let me tell you a little bit about electronics. These phones,
Tracking
they're
device.
tracking devices.
Yeah.
Your truck,
Yeah.
your radio,
Yeah.
it's a tracking device.
Okay.
And if it has Bluetooth in it,
Yeah.
it's seeking.
Right.
So you know what geofencing is? You ever heard of that?
No.
Okay. That means that wherever you're going, that's bouncing off a satellite, is looking for Bluetooth, and that's connecting, and that's telling us where you're at.
Okay.
There is a lot of cell phone stuff that we can see, which we have saw it.
Right.
Okay. There's also a lot of cameras up here.
Mhm.
And a lot of stuff on those cameras, we go, do we need that information or we don't need that information? So what we have discovered with this stuff is that your truck
Mhm.
is leaving Nick's house on the night of the shooting.
Okay.
It's not stopping at you. It doesn't stop at your office. In fact, it drives down towards Dr. Drake's office. And in fact, circles Dr. Drake's office several times. Then your truck goes back and parks right in front of your office, all on camera.
Okay.
Then we have a figure walking from the backside of your office down towards Drake's.
Okay.
Then we have gunfire, and we have a witness hear that gunfire.
Yeah.
And we have a figure walking, then running back towards your office.
Right.
Then we have your car being unlocked,
Okay.
driven back to Nick's.
Okay.
Who drove that truck?
I'm the only one that drives it.
What do you think we think of that?
Well, like I said, it's hard for me to know if I went to mix and he went there or whatever, but I'm telling you that I was at his house.
Well, we got that. Were you driving your truck down to your office?
Yeah, listen. We don't know why you did it.
Did what?
Shot and killed Dr. Drake.
I did not kill
There's
Dr. Drake.
There's two reasons why this might have happened. One is either you're a cold-blooded killer who went out and murdered this guy because you want to take it away from his wife and his kids. The other reason is because you had some beef against him. Maybe it was professional, maybe it was something else we're not even aware of, and you were trying to scare him because you didn't want him in town. And you fired a round through his office window, not thinking that you were going to kill him. And then when you found out you did, you were still aggrieved about it and you tried to take your own life.
That's not what happened.
You tell me what happened. All we know is I have enough evidence right now to take this to the jury and convict you for murder.
Well,
plain and simple. So why you did what you did is super important, because you're either looking at a first-degree premeditated murder charge, because we can prove premeditation by the driving past his window, deposit, circling twice. We can prove premeditation. The question is it premeditated murder or is it a premeditated shooting through the window? Because those are two different things. This is your opportunity to pick which one it is.
well, I didn't kill him. So,
You fired the shell, the round that killed him. Whether you intended to kill him or not is a different question.
I just showed you the gun. Is that gun?
That's not the gun. That's not the gun. It was a revolver that you used. We're currently doing search warrants at both your residences,
Okay.
at your chiropractic office, and your gun shop over in Montana.
Okay.
As well as your vehicle. Your Toyota is being towed down to Coeur d'Alene. Your other vehicles are going to be searched. In talking with the prosecutor and in showing him what we've got, we all feel confident that presented to a jury would convict you for this. So you've got to ask yourself, how do I want this to go? Do I want this to be seen as an intentional premeditated homicide? Or do I want this to be seen as what it was, which was an accident? But only you can answer that question.
I didn't even know Dr. Dre.
I don't know if you did or not. All I know is you shot him. I don't know why. I think I know why, but I don't.
I didn't shoot him, and I didn't do it.
How do we see your truck driving around his office, driving through the alleyway between his office and the coffee shop?
That's the thing, the coffee shop.
Let me show you this. Each one of these lines represent a camera. This is the business that the cameras came from. These are the channels because each business had multiple cameras. This is the time step on the camera. This is the actual time which we can establish by common things being seen. And this is a description of what we see. We see you getting to Moore's house. We see you spend about an hour and 10 minutes at his house. We then see you leave. We see that you go down Hill Street Alley. Get a map out here, sorry. You come out of his house, you come down Hill Street Alley, you turn here, you come down here, you turn in behind the church, you circle around the church, you then drive up here, you pause it before turning on 95, you think because you're looking back into this parking lot. You're coming back slowly at 95. You turn into here, you come back around again, you go back here again, back around again, you're clearly visible in the cameras. You can clearly see you. You come back in here, you turn in between here, you turn between these two buildings, and you stop right here. And that's at 7:17:52. The murder happened exactly at 7:26, and we can prove that through phone records because he was on the phone with his wife when he was shot. That's at 7:17:52. After pausing here, you then get back on Main, you drive back up, you park at your office, you can see that your lights lock your truck. You can then see as you're walking over here, there's two deer. One of the deer looks back at you. The deer move on. You cross here. That's a minute and a half before the shooting. The shooting occurs. The guy across the street and his girlfriend see you. He yells at you, "Hey, was that you?" You turn and look back at him, walk, and then run this way across here. He says, first he says it's the insurance company, and then he says it's the old pediatrician's office, you know, the Apron, which is that building right there. Then a minute later, you see your vehicle unlocked, you back up, and you drive back here, back to his house. As you're driving this way, the RP has gotten in his car and driven around here, and you can actually see him come up as your vehicle goes past. His headlights hit the side of your car.
Who's the RP?
The person across the street, the recording party.
Okay.
My point is that based on all of this, you're sunk. There's no point denying this. The question is why you did what you did.
I didn't do it. I mean, you can go ahead and say that that's what I did, but I didn't. I didn't know Brian Drake. I've never shot anybody.
Do you understand the importance of intent? Because it looks to me, by the nature of the shooting, that you didn't mean to kill him. I'm not even sure you meant to hit him. I think you just meant to scare him by putting a round through his window. But the result of that action of yours was that he died. And because of the circling of the block, waiting for the clients to leave, they actually saw your truck when you were leaving in the alley, and then going back down there on foot, and then shooting him, and then coming back, even if you didn't need to shoot him. If you don't explain to us your intent, then we infer your intent based on what we see, which is first-degree murder.
Well, I didn't shoot him, and I'm sorry, but that's what it is. So I guess if you're going to do that, then I need to get an attorney.
Okay.
So what was the point of me bringing the gun down then? Just to have me come down here?
Yeah, you had to come back. We were in the middle of interviewing Mick again. Mick's house and his business and that's all being searched also. Do you have a cell phone on you?
No.
No, is it in your car?
Yeah.
Sit tight, we'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna terminate this interview at 3:05.
Okay, right there. Again, Mr. Ryan, do you see the door opening there? Yes, I do. There's a glare there. Can you explain to the jury what that is? Yes, it's just we're watching through the window, the interrogation, be able to hear everything, see everything. And then detectives are coming then in that room, and that's where we're having that discussion about, did Dr. Moore invoke, he says, I think I need an attorney. So that's when we ran the tape back and we were discussing that. Okay. 1 second. Sorry, I told you that we're working with a really old AV unit here. And then is there still that glare in the back there? You guys are still back there? Yes. Okay. And then you decide that, well, can you explain then what happens? Well, Detective Van Leuven and I talked, and he believed that because I had a history with Dr. Morag had a rapport with him. So then I went in there. Okay, and that's where we're going to resume this. So you guys are still making that, you guys are still discussing? Yeah. You can see movement in the back. Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, right there. So then for about 35 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes, Dr. Moore then just sat there. That's about right. And he has a water. Mm-hmm.
Sorry about all this.
And your eyes are red.
Oh, I've been tired. Just been working hard.
All right. So can you identify for the jury who's on screen now? Yes, that's myself. Marty Ryan, that's me. And I was just shaking Dan Moore's hand. I've known Dan since he's, pretty much lived in Bonners Ferry.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to get this done.
Yeah.
You're a good man. You know I know that.
Yeah.
You've helped me out before.
Yeah.
And I've appreciated that. Because you never helped me out in a phony way. You
No.
helped me out in a sincere, earnest way, which I so appreciate. You know, honest, since we've had a homicide on sure.
A long time.
You know, this doesn't have to be a homicide. If this is explained, I understand. You handle this community. I don't know what you catch when you're in. I don't know if you do the old ostrich and try to avoid conversations about what's happening, but I deal with this every day through our office.
Right.
And it's just been tragic. You know? And then I also have to deal with it. Here's a question.
Yeah.
And you are with me, so I'm not even answer. If you saw a kid in the roadway about being hit by a truck, would you push a child out of the way?
Absolutely.
You're driving on a mountain road and you come around a corner. No one else is around, and no one knows. And there's a child. Let's say that child's dad is Dr. Drake, right?
Yeah.
And that child is standing on the road. No one's gonna know. But if you swerve, you're gonna go off and die. You're gonna go off and die off that cliff. Or you just dump the child out of the way and you keep on coming. What would you do?
That's where I'm gonna get the kid.
You kill yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would end your own life to help that child.
Absolutely.
You know, the kid's not gonna do it, guys.
No.
Smart kids. Those 5 kids think their dad was murdered in my life. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
The hard part about this is, and I've worked with these amazing men, and went and watched them tediously take their time.
Yeah.
Meticulously build up what they do.
Yeah.
And then they bring all this evidence. Now, Jesus Christ, I know this man.
Yeah.
You know, I know he did put it there on purpose. those kids are gonna live the rest of their life thinking somebody murdered their dad. Was he cheating on with a man's wife? Was he involved in some large scam? Was he dealing with his neighbor was wrapped up in criminal activity? At least the family has been, so that name's kind of taken a beating. I think that poor family that they've been through. Was he wrapped up with him? There's so many things there that those kids will never know. Or it's just a little bit feud and somebody had a heated moment and made a mistake. You have to decide then you drive off the cliff and help heal this town and do the right thing, be the good man that you are. And look me in the eye and tell me that you can't step up and do the right thing. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care what you rehearse before you walk into today.
Yeah.
I need you to do the right thing. This town needs it. I just don't want to throw you in jail for murder. I just want to explain it, and I want this to be done for everybody. The truth is, you're going to be on the street again. If this goes right, you're going to be on the street again, and you'll rebuild your life, and you'll go on. You'll go sit there for Christmas dinners and all these things again. But you have to want to do that. Please, Nick. Please, I'm begging you. Forget what you talked about before you came in here. Forget any plans you had, all the preparation you have for this beautiful moment. You sit here and try to hold yourself so composed. It's not worth it. This is forever. Forever. You're going to be in this world suffering from this if you don't make it right. You understand?
I do.
Okay. Can we make this right? Please. Dave, stop. I already know. Before you're talking. Think what you will say.
I didn't even know Dr. Dre.
Can you explain to me that? Please help me. What the hell are you circling that man's block? What the hell are you doing walking towards his freaking office? There's a shooting and you come back again. Damn it, this is too much. Do you understand? And that detective is right. That's premeditated murder. You're not that guy. You're not.
No.
Okay. Daniel, what the hell, Henry? Explain, give me, paint the scenario. You leave your case, you drive around the block, right? What were you thinking while you're driving around? Tell me.
I know I tried to go to the coffee shop.
Okay. You went down the alleyway to the coffee shop. They're closed.
They're not closed.
Did you stop at the window there?
I stopped and looked in, yeah.
And then what?
It's been 6 months, but I don't
You and
remember.
I both know you know what I think you did that night.
No, I
That man
don't.
died that night. And you know that. Okay? You didn't know it till the next morning. I know that. But you know it. Okay. So, you drove down the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And then you drove your truck with him, doesn't truck with you.
No.
You drove back to your office.
Mhm.
Okay. So, you get out your truck. You always lock your truck when you get out.
Yep.
And you head back towards the coffee shop. Why? What was your intent? Explain it to me, please. You can do this, Daniel. I believe you. You know, it's better. Step up and be the man. You do this. Please. Otherwise, this town's going to be torn apart.
Why is the town going to be torn apart?
Because there's going to be people who don't understand why you murdered somebody. Okay? And there's going to be other people who think, well, he didn't do it. There's no way. Unless Dan accepts what's saying, I don't know. I made a mistake. And this is what's going on across the nation right now. We have these things so messed up here so quickly. I just want Daniel to tell the community, I made a mistake. This is what I did. You understand? So you left the truck and you walked towards the coffee shop. What was your intention back? What were you thinking at that time? Honestly, what were you thinking?
I didn't go to the coffee shop after that.
You walked in that direction,
I did walk in that direction.
okay? And then there was a gunshot, and then you walked, jogged back to your truck again. Okay. Daniel,
I'll tell you what I did was I took a shit in the alley. And I really don't want to have to say that in public.
okay, here's the deal. I can't do this anymore.
Okay.
Okay, Daniel, come on, buddy. I'm just gonna go tell them, you're gonna sit from a jury and tell them, yeah, all the evidence these guys have is right. And yep, I walked there, and while a man was being murdered within 100 feet of me, I was taking a shit in an alleyway, and then I came back. Really? And then you've never said this before, though. So now you're saying this day, don't do this. Don't do this. And so now those kids are going to continue to grow up not knowing if other dad was murdered. Or was it a damn mistake? Just say the right words.
I didn't murder him.
Okay, no, you didn't. You made a mistake, didn't you? You made a mistake.
If you want to do a DNA sample where I took the crap, then you could find it.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
So you have an office, and you're at your best friend's house, but you choose to go in the alleyway right next to where this man was shot. So tell me, what did you do in the gunshot wound?
I ran back.
But you never told us that, man. You know, that's kind of important. That might help us in our case, right? You see all the cops flying up there, red lights and sirens going? Because you know there wasn't a roadblock. You told these guys there's a roadblock. That's why he drove a weird way all the way up. There was no roadblock. There was just cops flying up there.
Well, I saw cops all over that. I turned right.
Yeah.
And then I went right around the block and I went home.
You know, what hurts is I see it in you. I see it wanting to come out, and you're not doing it. And so you now give us, I took a shit in the alley right next to where I got a shot.
Well, I wasn't that close. I was at the end of my alley.
Yeah. That's not where you want to. That's not where you parked. You walk out. You saw you walk out.
Who saw me walk out where?
From your truck.
Yeah.
Yes. Daniel, please, buddy. Okay. Do we go forward with this? This is Daniel's last final, before we go into booking, this is what we're gonna go with. You tell me, brother. Yeah, I'd say something else.
Yeah.
Where's the gun?
I don't have the gun.
I know you don't. Where is it? Daniel, come on. You just think, well, you've known me for how many decades now? I remember helping you out back in the 90s with your practicing when your girls was getting stalked or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, I've known you for a long time, man.
I'm not the type of person to shoot somebody.
Thank you. I agree. Nice. That's a good step forward. Very good. No, you're not. And are we perfect all the time, Daniel?
No,
Do you ever make mistakes?
absolutely.
Do you make bad judgment calls sometimes? Yeah. Okay. So, I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna let those guys know he's never told you this before. But yes, he drove around, went down the alleyway, drove around, parked, and went to the shit in the alleyway, not his office, but the alleyway. Gunshot happens, and he goes back and goes back. They didn't tell Nick about the gunshot. You didn't call the cops because there was a gunshot.
I heard a shot, but I mean, I hear shit all the time. I mean, it's not like it wasn't like I saw a gunshot. I heard it because it's not that far away.
Yeah.
But it's the fenced-in area that had the garbage cans in it at the end of the alley. And if you want to do a DNA thing there, you'll find it.
Sure. It's very smart.
Whoa.
Hey, do you think that I'm Daniel? Do you think that I'm being misleading when I say to you that this is going to hurt this community?
Not
I
at
see
all.
you vote for first degree murder. Do you think that's not going to break this apart? You have to see that. Okay, so when these detectives are saying the time you took planning this and then walking there on foot
I didn't
shows
plan anything.
everybody. When you're walking, you're making those circles and you slowly drive down that alleyway, you stop and pause and you're doing all the things you're doing. And you're too smart for a man. You are too smart for a man. Okay? But if I was dealing with some crackhead, I'd be like, well, maybe, yeah.
It wasn't necessarily my fault.
You are extremely smart man. So you've planned this moment for a long time. You know at some point when you called in here, I respect the way you've handled yourself. But you've only made things worse by this last little statement that you're making because none of this makes any sense. And so I'm telling you, and I'm also asking the friend has to make, okay, there's two groups that I worry about that I'm responsible for. Okay. One is this town. And I know you love this town. You love this town. I got to what's going on right now, I love this town more than I ever have. Every day I drive down that hill, I thank God to get this little town.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what this is gonna do. Okay? Because you're not able to say, I made a mistake. I messed up. Now instead, your people prefer to be murdered. And then the second one is little kids. Okay, I have a family of 5. A woman who's lost her best friend. If this was an accident, it was an accident. I can make this phone call when I leave here and let him know it's over. And no, there was no vicious thing. Your husband wasn't wrapped up in something bad. This wasn't criminal. This wasn't anything. This was a mistake. And here's what happened. And he wants to be held accountable for it. He wants to say he's sorry. You hear me? Okay. Are we there? Daniel?
I need to talk to an attorney then.
Okay, I understand. Then, I know a minute ago you said I think, but now you're telling me you want to talk to an attorney, you want to talk to me anymore.
Well, it's just, no.
No, I want you to say that because it's important, you know? You can't, I think this, I think that. Brother, I don't want to do anything to violate anything here. You know why I'm here, okay? I'm trying to do the best, fix this thing I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've painted the best picture I can for you, and I've asked for your help on this, but you have to be clear. I can only talk to you if you want to talk to me. You understand, Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay, and if I walk out, that's it. You're not seeing me anymore. All right? So I'm gonna leave. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that there's a reason I went to mix to get the ammonia, and it's because I had diarrhea. And so I don't know why that's such a hard thing for people to understand. It's not a made-up story. I had diarrhea.
Okay. Hey, Dan, you and I both know why. Because of what you're thinking of, what you're doing, and how it makes you sick to your stomach. Because you have a good heart. Okay? You did something stupid. But again, I can't heal. I can't make these phone calls. I can't talk to people with anything unless you say you want to talk to me. All right? You want to talk to me or not? Yes or no?
I think I need to talk to an attorney.
Okay. Well, look at that. Let's defend it. All right, brother. Okay, I'm gonna go. Okay.
But I really do appreciate you. And
It's done.
Yeah.
It's over. Okay.
so what do I do?
Well, you're going to take me. I'm not selling myself up. Okay. I got you. I have work I got to do now. Okay.
Thank you.
At this point,
Yes, sir.
there's one more.
What did
I
you
want
want
the truth here. I want the truth.
You want me to admit that?
I want you to admit the truth. But, yeah, you're killing me, man. Okay, buddy?
Without an attorney, you want me to talk and say something?
Well, again, no, I don't want you to do anything you don't want to do. All I want to do is go say, I want to go tell my community the truth. That's what I want to do. Okay, this ain't, I'm not, so I feel dirty. I feel like, this is it. I'm not trying to pull stuff from you, anything but the truth. I know you're a good man, and I ask these guys, please let me talk to them. Okay, because you're a good man. And I know that if you can fix this, you want to fix it. There's only one answer. That's the truth. There's only one right thing in this world. That's the truth.
That's right.
That's all that matters. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Our community deserves it. That family deserves it. And your lineage, your memory of yourself, what you pass on matters. Okay. So what happens? I walk out this door. Then you're going to be going to jail. All right, brother. And that's just the way it's going to go.
Even if I say what you want me to say,
Now I want you to say the truth.
and
But explain it.
if I say the truth, I'm still going to jail.
We're going to jail. A whole lot more explanation. Okay, you know that. A whole lot more explanation. So that's where I'm at. Okay, brother. And I get an attorney here, and you can explain to him if you want, however you want to do it. But you have to want to tell us, because I want to know. You have to look for something. You have to be held accountable, right? If you make a mistake, you have to be held accountable. Do you ever spank your kids?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's how we teach accountability. Well, we're big boys now, right? So you have to be held accountable. The community owes that. But this is you set forward saying, I effed up, here's what I did wrong. You know what I'm saying? Okay, all right, so we're just really treacherous waters here between talking and me. Brother, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. I tried my best to let pick up, you see the light. Okay,
No, I see what you're saying. I just,
do you want to say it? Do you want to say it? Just say it. Get off your chest and be done with it. Whatever happens, happens. But just get off your chest if that's what you want to do. But I promise you this, if you do, I promise you, all we're talking about what bookkeeper look at. I promise you that. And it won't be first degree murder, I guarantee it.
I see what you mean. Can I use that doctor?
What's that?
Can you tell the jury why there is an empty seat there? Because Dr. Moore asked to use the bathroom and we took him to the bathroom.
I'd like to,
If I could have one more one.
Thank you, sir.
When I say I feel dirty, I don't understand. Daniel, I'm gonna make this clear.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable talking to you anymore. You know, there's certain laws we have to live by, you know, and you've not made it clear when you say things like, well, I think I need an attorney, or maybe I should, if you don't do that, maybe I should talk to an attorney. And so it puts me in a really, when I say I feel dirty, it's like I don't want to do something against you again. You matter to me, okay? Do you understand? I work as hard as I do for you, than I do anybody else. Okay, it doesn't matter what somebody's messed up or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If I had a rape suspect, the very next night his house is getting burglarized. I'm gonna die just front lawn, quick as I die on anybody else's. All right. I'm here for you. Okay. So I don't want to do something that's gonna hurt our relationship, and I sure don't want to do something that's gonna violate your rights. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I will continue to talk to you, but you never ever, because you won't clearly say what you want to do. If you want to talk with me alone, just the two of us,
Okay.
then you have to say that, okay? But you have to say, Marty, I want to talk to you. You have to tell me that, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Tell me, what do you want? I want to hear from you.
I'd like to talk to you. I trust you.
Okay.
But I think that if they're gonna put me up on this, then I need to be able to talk to somebody before.
Sure. Okay, very good. Since I say the words. Do you want to talk to me or not? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you.
Okay. With that, but you keep saying you want an attorney.
Well,
So I said, it can't be the wishy-washy, you understand? This is your moment. This is your moment, you gotta decide, yes or no. All right, brother? Yes or no, this is your moment. Decide. And I'm good. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad. I'm hurt because I've got a community to take care of here, and I'm trying to make this right, okay? I'm trying to make it right. But I'm not mad at you, okay? So I hope you don't think that I'm mad at you. Okay, good. I want you to sense that from my personality, all right, brother? I can't play games with this thing anymore. As far as like, well, maybe, yeah, I want to talk to you, but I should talk to somebody. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to walk out, okay? And I came back in because I want to clarify with you what you want to do. What do you want to do? Say the words one way or the other. Either I sit down or I walk out. You tell me what to do.
Well, I'd like to talk to you, but don't you feel under the circumstances that I should have an attorney present to be able to tell me where this is taking me?
You're asking my opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I'll give you my opinion.
Okay.
But understand, I'm not the one facing this.
Yeah.
I didn't walk down that alleyway that night. I didn't make a big mistake. Okay? All right. So you have to say yes or no. Stay or go, Marty. I want to turn one or the other. Yes or no.
I want to be able to talk to somebody who gives me my legal rights.
Okay. Very good.
So that's,
Yeah. I
what do you
understand.
mean I don't want to talk to you?
I know, buddy. I understand. Okay.
And that's the only thing that I'm saying, because it's like, Just because I circle a block doesn't mean I'm casing some guy trying to kill him.
Okay, we're done.
Why do you guys feel that way?
Yeah, wow, okay, but just, okay. Okay, we're done. We're done. Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So what, so then what about my car and all the stuff? What happens? Like,
we're gonna tow your vehicle, and we have search warrants, and we already explained that to you. We have search warrants for your house, and the vehicle at your office. Those search warrants are being served now.
okay. But my wife's not home. The animals are inside.
We're not gonna harm your animals. I mean, we're not gonna release them.
Okay.
We're trying to do this as quietly as possible.
Okay. What about, you wanna know where the key is? You don't have to break in the door? Or just,
They've already gotten up there and done it, so I don't know about that.
okay.
I don't think they broke the door, but I don't know.
All right, can I talk to Ryan one more time? What?
Okay. Detective Gaston. Please tell me how quick you went through everything.
What should I do if I don't have an attorney and I tell you something and then,
Right.
I mean, and that just seems,
Right.
or like, I still would like to talk to you, but it's like,
I get it. Listen, yeah, I don't know what we want to say. You know, it'd be different if I'm interviewing a bank robber or something like that. That's all about, I'm gonna get this guy, I'm gonna get this. There's no winning here, right? So not saying just because of the situation you're in, there's no winning for me. There's no winning for this town. Everybody loses here. This is a bad thing. Man, I gotta tell you, the thoughts of what ifs when this whole thing first kicked off.
yeah,
You know, why we did it, my mind ran through hit jobs and all this kind of crazy, like, what's this guy wrapped up in? All this, oh, brother. So, that's what I want. I want to go back in time. I imagine you do too.
Yeah.
That's what I want, but we can't. This is where we are now. I'm sitting here with my favorite doctor, Moore, across the table from me, one of the nicest men I've ever known. And I know what he did. And so it hurts in every way. You understand? It hurts in every way. But Dan, what do I want? I want to heal. And I can't heal. See, for me, it's a simple thing of honesty. And so, but it's also a question of your rights. So you say you want to talk to me, ask Marty to come back in here. That's your request. I'm not here. If you want to tell me something, tell me, but you lay this guilt trip on me what I do. But you do, or you make me feel guilty. Because I can't create something right there. I'm asking for the truth. And I already I know the truth. What hurts me is that I can't go forward and talk to the press. I can't go forward and talk to this family. I can't make this phone call to this wife and tell the truth. I have to say something different now. And I want the truth. Because what's going to happen is going to happen no matter what. You understand that? It's just at what level it is out of explanation. That's all I want. I want the explanation because we can't go back to March. We can't go back there. We can't go back to that night stop before that. We can't. It's done. It's over, brother. All right? All we can do is heal. You ask me what I think. I think you love this community as much as you say you do. I've seen you at children's concerts and plays. And where our kids and I played together one time? Yes. Man. I mean, the things, the history of this town and all of us raising our families here, and we will continue to raise our families here. And our children's children raise their families here, but this is the last great place on the planet. It's how we go forward, Daniel.
And they're just
Until
gonna,
we heal. Because it's going to be there. The paper's going to be out tomorrow morning, no matter what. Okay? This can't be stopped. This train is left. Do we do this in a healing manner or not? That's all I want. And honesty helps with healing. Okay? And then so if Dan feels like I need to be honest, I'm going to talk to Marty Ryan and then say that. But don't lay a trip on me there and make me feel like I'm caught in this somehow. Because what do I do? Damn it, Dan. There's no winning here. There's nothing. There's nothing to be had. There's only bad or a whole lot worse. Okay?
I just don't understand why.
You understand what? So it's not okay. Look at me, brother. You know where I'm coming from. You know I know. We're done. Everyone, this is done. Okay?
Well, why are they so positive about doing that?
No, and then if that's the case, we'll let our jury decide.
But I'm just curious why.
Because we know we're good at what we do. Okay? We're good at our job. It's what we do. Okay, Daniel? It's just a question of why. I can't tell how painful it is to have something like this, especially when you know both parties. And you see that all the suffering on both sides. And then you have the what? Where? When? How? Who? You have it all. Why, man? And the only thing that's going to heal, none of that heals anything. The only thing that heals is why.
I didn't even know it.
I know that, buddy. Then tell me why. Give me it. Let me know. That's it. That's all I can tell you. You want to know what I want? That's what I want. And if you want to cry, cry. I won't cry with you. God, it just kills me. That's why. That's the only thing that heals. Let me tell you something. I'm a little kid. My dad used to make me do push-ups on the floor on the TV while he watched the evening news. I get older and he'd call the house, and I'd be at the house all by myself, little kid. And he'd say, "What are you doing?" And whatever. Did you do push-ups? I'm doing that, yes, sir. And then I lose my dad. And I always think about him telling me to do push-ups. You know what's good about push-ups? They're the right thing to do. You never, ever regret doing push-ups. It only makes you better tomorrow. I'm really happy I did all my push-ups. It probably saved my life several times. Right? Doing right, he never has regrets. He never has regrets. Right? Think of all things we do in our life that isn't the right thing. Doing right never has a regret. Okay? So can't do your push-ups if that's what you're asking me. Do the right thing. Okay? That's what I'm telling you. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you the best answer I can. And do your push-ups. Why?
And they're just absolutely positive I did this.
I am doing it. And tell you what, even worse than across the I've done so many of these I can't tell you. I know that it's just at that surface. It's just everything in a person wants to say. And it's like, man, you think you're a really bad name. No, well, I don't care. I think that's wrong. I know you didn't do a bad thing. You did a bad thing, not for a bad reason. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about how you walk in that way, talking about that. Just explain it. Just get it out. Be done with it, please. Give me the word.
I really did have to take a crap.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then I heard the gunshot.
Oh, okay.
What's
I'm
that?
not gonna do this anymore. You keep asking to talk to me, asking to come back in here. If I'm gonna talk to you again, if you and I have a relationship of honesty. I've been honest with you,
Yes, sir.
okay? I'm gonna talk, you asked me to come back in here. Why'd you ask me to come back in here, that? To ask for my opinions, to hear a push-up story, what'd you call me back in here for? Daniel? Dr. Moore?
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you call me in here for?
I guess just because I wanted to talk to you.
Okay, brother. I'm sorry. You know,
What
you know
difference?
what I need, because I know what I'm hurting for is honesty, so I could make some phone calls and I could get things arranged and I have something to share with the community in a kind, gentle way. This is what happened. This is why. And now we're healing and people will be held accountable. Okay? Or it's just an ugly headline. And I gotta make a choice. Okay?
Why does it have to be an ugly headline before?
Well, no, Daniel, if the only reason we have right now, the only thing we have is that you were waiting and waiting for the coffee shop to close, and waiting for it to be gone, waiting for the last chiropractor customer to leave that night. That's all the things we have right now, Daniel. And so when a person waits that long, parks and walks back, yeah, look, I'm premeditated. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so again, it's silly to think that it's silly we don't know what happened. It's just that we don't have a reason why. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And so without the reason why, we are left with nothing else but to explain to the court the why. That's obvious. And that's premeditation. Okay? Okay. You call me in here, and you know what I was asking for when I left. And what I was telling you, we just have to stop. We have to stop talking. Okay? And you asked me to come back in here. So if I'm here, Daniel, then give me the move I need to go heal, which is the absolute truth, no more shit story. Okay? And you're nodding your head, you're saying yes to me to say, then just explain what comes to your mind, the mistake you made. I don't think you're a drinker, are you?
No, I don't.
No. So I've had so much trouble getting my head around that moment and how this got away from me. How it spun out of control. I don't understand how it got away from me. And I guess why I can't talk to you anymore. Okay, then because if you can't do this, then I got, well, I know. I know. And so if you can't do this, then we're wasting our time. Okay? You call me or not.
If I have an attorney, just hear me out. How am I gonna plead to anything if I'm sitting there spilling my guts to you and I don't have an attorney that gives me my rights?
That's again, see, that's. But you understand, Daniel. You keep saying this. I can't answer that question. How do you do that? I don't know. Okay? I know what we have right now. And the only person who can change what we have right now is you. All right? And so you have to decide how you want to change what we have, and then change it. But if you mention an attorney and you keep on doing it, if you mention it, I'm just Because, and it's your right, you have a right to an attorney, but when you call me back and say, I wanna talk to you again, well then, we restart everything again, I come back up, what do you want, Dan? Because I just wanna heal my town. I wanna call a wife and tell her this was just a bad mistake. I wanna do something, okay? And so I'm hurting here too, buddy.
I love the town.
Good. Prove it. Because I know I drive off that cliff. Prove it, if that's what you want to do. Yeah. Don't do so bad. You guys are screaming at me. You guys are freaking screaming at me. God dang, buddy.
If I plead to that, I have nothing left to negotiate with.
The truth. Right. How's the truth not the right thing?
Maybe I've watched too many movies.
We have certain degrees, first degree, second degree, manslaughter, all the way down, And so we have to decide where we're at with Dan. I'm not here to punish you, I'm not here to punish this town. That's not what we're here to do, okay? Do you agree that you be held accountable for making a mistake? Do you agree, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. You tell me, to what degree should you be held accountable to? You tell me. What mistake did you make? Or was it complete malice, anger, and I'm gonna end this man forever?
No, I didn't even know.
Okay, then you tell me. Okay, I just gotta know. That's it, I just gotta know. Because that's how we're not gonna, tell you what, we're not gonna be both for first degree murder. If you didn't commit first degree murder, right now, I'm just going off what we have. Okay, partner? I'm not sure that you unless you can tell me the truth, but all I want is the truth. I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. I don't waste my time with anything else.
I did not go there to murder him.
Okay, I believe you 100%. I believe you 100%. Okay, I don't doubt you. Danielle, I'll talk to these guys. I'll drive you down to the jail myself. I'll walk you in there, okay, buddy?
Okay.
Okay. Can we clean this up and then can I go make some phone calls? And what do I tell people? You tell me what you want me to tell people. Tell me the truth, Daniel.
It wasn't intentional.
I know. I know.
I couldn't even see inside. He had his blind spot.
He was on the phone at the time. Did you hear his voice?
No.
You didn't hear a voice talking? Just the figure, that was it. Can I ask you a question? Are you earning financially?
No.
Are you at the time though? Business falling way back? We found like over 30 customers that left your business and went over there. And that's a lot.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like you sit there and you talk about who's leaving and why they're going there.
Okay, sure. Did you feel you were declining business?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're thinking that night? You looked through the window, you saw the blind sign, did you see the outline of him? Just give me a mindset. That's what I need. What were you thinking?
Scared.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
If I read this thing right, you found out the door and actually walked in for a 50. And then came back out, you didn't?
No.
You just went right down the alleyway.
Yeah, there's no open.
Okay, I didn't know, okay. So, down the alleyway, how long did you stand at the window?
I honestly can't remember anything.
Like a blur?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you remember how many rounds you fired?
What's that?
Do you know how many rounds you fired?
No.
What would be your guess?
One.
When it went through the window, what were you thinking? Like, what would you expect to have happen? No, yeah, I can't, but I've had the misfortune of having to take human life with one of the job. And I got to tell you, sometimes you're shocked because the human body will react sometimes in ways we never expect. And I've seen people shot plenty of times in my life, and so I'm wondering what do you think? What did you see, and what was your feedback in your mind when you saw it?
Blank.
Blank.
Just blank.
We're here. I'm proud of you. Okay, Daniel. What did you expect to happen? Because this is what I need to know before. Because we're talking intent. You understand? What were you thinking was going to happen, and what the result would be afterwards?
Scare.
Okay. To gain what? Okay, so he's scared. You scared him, and so what happens when you scare him? I walk on the porch, I yell at a stray cat, and I'm at my house, and I goes in that when I scream and throw a rock at it, it's gonna take off running. I got my result, right? If he doesn't run, I'm gonna be a bit shocked and surprised.
Right.
Okay, so you fire this round off to scare him. What did you think was gonna happen afterwards? What might be the outcome? In the following days, weeks, was it that he may move on?
Yeah.
When you point his head through the window, you see the outline of the man, and
I don't see any outline.
well, you can. I know you can because I stood at that window shortly after you did. Just so you know, I stood in your footsteps, and so you could see through that window. It's just you couldn't see great, but you totally see the outline. I was actually able to see through the blinds to see him laying on the ground. And so I had that much of a view from standing where you stood. And so I know you can see the outline of the man, right?
I did not see an outline of anybody. Just a light.
He was sitting right in front of me. He was sitting right there.
Well, I didn't hear anything or see anything.
And a minute ago, Dan, you realized a minute ago, you told me you did see him. I'm pretty good at this stuff, Dan. So when they go back and they review this case, you already told me so. But you already said it. Let's not be silly. Now we're going to go backwards again. Dan, I just want to have a clean, honest explanation. Okay? Which you're telling me, kind of, but you're still trying to do something to protect the man. That's it. That's the and you don't want to share who you want to share. Okay, buddy? But it's not painting a clear picture. And when you say something and you change it,
I'm just saying the lines were pulled.
they were pulled, but I could see right through them. They were not like they were cheap ass lines. So you can see that completely. Yeah. Alright, that's okay. I'm gonna let that one go. Okay, so explain to me. Because I know you can see the shape of the man. I know you could, like I said, I stood your footsteps. You can see the shape of the man there. Was there a part of the body maybe where you thought you could fire at where it would cause damage?
No, I didn't want to hit anything.
When did you find out that he was dead?
2 or 3 in the morning.
How did you find out?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I'm not very happy with Nick. You know, I'm not happy with Metal. We put him on a polygraph today, you know that.
You do what?
We put Nick on a polygraph today. So, how do you think he did?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I know that it's the, I'm not happy with Nick because in so many ways he's associated with us in law enforcement. and he shouldn't have
He
allowed me.
doesn't know anything.
He's so dumb that he's not able to catch on the fact that my friend leaves my house. His competition 1 block away dies, and my friend comes back to my house. He never thinks for a second that there might be a problem.
I told him I was sick. And he gave me Imodium. And that's what happened.
Dan, where's that at? Before we tear everybody's houses apart, I'll stop this right now. I have time. And I don't care where we gotta go, how far I gotta dig. We're gonna find it. Attics, crawl spaces, it's gonna all be torn up, you know that it has to.
It's not in the house.
Okay, let's tell me how it's not, please, and I'm gonna stay there for a lot of time, especially your family.
It's probably in the room.
Okay, can you tell me where? I got a guy that can do it. I know he can. He's really good. And he's itching good.
Yeah.
Okay, where's that in the river? Where's your park? And please, don't risk my daughter's life for nothing.
No.
Yeah, if you tell me the truth, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. If you tell me the truth, damn it, don't, you know, I'm not sure, I'm not so confident in this. Okay, you know, risk your life to do this. Okay?
Yeah.
So please, if I want to send a kilo of water, and you know how valuable kilo of water is,
Yeah.
so I'm going to send that fine man, dad, husband, great community member, into that river to go get that done. He will exhaustively kill himself to get that done. Okay? Is it in the river? Yes or no? It's a no. Where's it at?
I know, it's not in the house, it's in the river.
It's in the river.
Yeah.
100% sure.
100% sure.
Tell me where. Give me the exact location you tossed it. Come on, man. You can do this. You're better than this. Just so you paint your head. I parked here. I walked down the trail here. Talk it through. But talk to me as you're going through it so I can picture it in my mind. Otherwise, it's not going to be good. And I'm kind of dumb when it comes to being a country boy, so where were you for which park?
Probably by somewhere between the boat ramp.
Yeah.
And towards the bridge.
Well, it's a long stretch. Where did you stop and throw it?
I mean, it was upriver from the boat ramp.
Upriver, how close? Would you park in the boat ramp? Okay, so you parked, we're talking out there with the county, what we are right there, pipeline going across, right? Okay, so you parked the boat ramp, what time of night was it?
Was I don't remember next morning.
Next morning? Okay, so you drive down there, what truck you drive down there? Right truck? Okay, so you get your Ford, you drive down there, park with anything else around? Tomorrow should be cold.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really cold, huh? Yep. Okay, so you parked in the parking lot, by the bathrooms, down by the ramp, where'd you park?
By the ramp.
Okay, so you pull down by the ramp, get out, and then you go up the bank walking, or you stand there and just throw it?
Just
Sure, now you keep looking away when you say that stuff, you think about time to the truth, Dan.
just through.
But back towards the bridge, back towards like where the pipeline is, that direction?
Well, straight out from the rail.
Straight up.
Yeah.
How far do you think I'm vision on?
Yeah.
All right, so 20 yards down?
Yeah.
Is that yes or no, or sure?
Probably.
About straight up. Was it loaded at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain it again to me. What am I looking for?
No guns.
Yeah, that's either, I'm the one cop who gun,
Maybe 357.
and how many rounds were in?
6.
Okay, only fired one round. Okay, the round's still in it. You didn't dump it out. You didn't put a clean round in.
Not very smart.
And where'd you get that from? Did it come from your store? Food, where we go into a place? Bacon,
But on a privately a long time ago.
something.
It was in LA.
Oh,
No. So I just don't have guns. I mean,
right,
it's-
I know this, but what's with this guy buying in LA privately stuff? Know how, I was a cop down there, brother, you know how that kind of stuff works. That's not a small thing,
No,
buying guns under the table.
no, it's not under the table. Those people can't pay for office visits and they pay with a gun. I've got rifles, shotguns.
Where are your guns kept in? Gun safe?
Yeah, but those are my son's. There's nothing in there but rifles.
I didn't know you had a gun safe at your house. Up on Cannonball? Okay, they're gonna be cutting that open.
Or
I know it, shit, they're there right now. What's the, what do you call it?
I don't know. I've never opened it. It's my son's.
Well, buddy, come on. We're doing a murder case here with a gunshot. They gotta find the guns. They don't wanna hurt nobody's property. I don't want to hurt people's property. It has to be done, you know that, okay?
There's no gun in there.
Okay.
They're gonna find us.
I understand. But you have to know, we just can't do that. When we're there, we have to do everything. You know that, okay? So is there a way to get hold of your son before they tear that safe apart?
No.
Okay, so we're about to cut the safe.
In his bedroom,
Okay,
there's a lamp on the left,
okay,
and there's a key ring
okay. Hanging underneath it or something? Or from the lamp?
hanging inside the lamp.
Hang inside the lamp, there's a key. Okay.
But that's his thing.
So you see all the combinations to do with the key? Must have been a super high level safe then.
Well, I've never opened it.
Okay. How much more?
22.
Military?
Air Force.
Check. All right. Daniel, we have everything, okay? Except for, I still don't have a reason why. What were we doing? Why is that? There had to be something to driving force. Give me something to understand. I'm gonna get your head over there, brother, and I'm gonna understand what Dan's thinking, what's he on. Please. Not now, then. What's going on in your life?
Just I didn't even know that.
And Dan, I mean, there's people in that coffee shop on this side that when they look the other way. You don't know them either. Are they engaged? Okay, why was Dr. engaged that night?
Shouldn't have done it. I mean, it was
Why, Dan? Please,
an accident.
I know. But still, you stood there at that window. You drove around waiting and thinking. Let me know your thoughts at that time. That's how we heal, brother. Okay? You're gonna need help from this. His kids are gonna see psychologists after this and think about it, you know? Let's figure out what's going on with you, man. And honestly, Dan, you're gonna be on my streets again someday. You get that? Yeah, you will. Yes, you will. I just so you know, you will. And I need to know. When I see you sitting in a chicken shop, I need to know.
I'm gonna be able to show my face and
You will explain things a little bit. Okay? Communities needs to know a lot. Again, train's left. Just make things right. Okay? You can't change what happened yesterday. This is a new moment, a new day. Okay, now we see what life has to offer us going forward. Alright? Just go forward, taking the right steps, doing the right thing. What were you thinking driving around? I want to know what was in your minds when I see you on the street 5 years from now driving around at 10 o'clock at night. I know what Dan's thinking. What were you thinking that night?
Well, you may not believe it, but I did have to take a crap in hell.
Okay. Dan, you always bring it down with you to take a crap?
No, but I carried one.
No,
And then, well,
I'm not going to carry that.
no, it was on me. No,
Okay, but you did that night.
I've always had one that was in the truck.
Okay. Is there one in the truck right now?
No,
Oh, is there a gun in your car right now?
no,
Daniel, please,
no.
don't get rich in, brother.
They'll find it if there was.
I know that. As I'm saying, there's not a gun in your cars now.
No,
That night there was. You put it in your pocket and you walk that direction. After driving past his office and past his office and past his office, I just want to get in your head, what were you thinking, please?
I was driving to go. Let me, please. I was sick. I was driving by the coffee shop to get something to drink. It was closed. He was there.
Yeah.
And I just figured it was scary.
Okay, so you park, come back, and again, though, why the need to scare you? Financial, business, too many chiropractors too close together, right? I don't
I
know.
suppose.
I mean, was that it?
I suppose.
How's business been?
It's been COVID-19, you know.
Yeah. I just got curious to that, if you're seeing more customers. Yeah, seriously, because honestly, Daniel, people ask me where to go, I tell them go see Daniel Moore.
Well, how do you guys know 30 people left? I don't even know that.
Because we know the records last. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at what we do.
Well, I know you're good, but it's like,
Again, and there's discoveries we don't want to make. There's things, this is not, I'm trying to get across, this is not, I'm not breaking up the Mexican cartel here. I've got a good man I've known for 20 plus years, made a mistake. And somebody died, a father died, a husband died, a best friend died. Right? Okay, everybody's got to live this the rest of their life. As do you, right? I don't understand why you need to scare him. It doesn't make sense to me.
I just figured he'd leave. He wasn't there very often.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that. I didn't think he was that big a threat. I just, he was all over. He was over in Montana. He was here. He was going away.
Yeah.
So I just thought it'd scare him and he'd stay at the other places.
Okay.
But you sure as hell would never want to kill anybody.
I know. I believe it. Okay.
I was a very good kind of animals.
To know this has been a mind-boggling shock for all of us. Okay? That's why I just talked to you for a minute. I just know. One, we all know you did it, and then two, we just couldn't figure out why. This makes sense.
Rick doesn't know anything. Okay, honestly does.
Okay.
So don't be mad at him.
Well, I am, because I don't know how you know. Daniel, you left so many, once we know, then we're like, oh my God, look at the trail. And your best friend, who's been around law enforcement all these years, helped us on so many cases. Did you see it?
Nick passes out on the couch from being tired. He's so exhausted. He falls asleep half the time I'm there. I'll get up and I'll walk home.
Up to Cannonball?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did last night. He was sound asleep, so I walked.
So, I'm going to ask one time about the event. You promise I'm not going to listen to this like here. This will be right after the boat actually out. You think it's the 357, but you're not sure.
I'm not sure.
Who loaded it for you?
It was loaded. I don't know.
You say, what had come from a box of rounds? What the box of rounds like? That would help. That's actually really good. Where's that at?
Same place.
You threw it in the river?
Yeah.
Now you're making fun of me.
No, I'm not. Why would I?
Daniel, come on. Why would you think of doing that?
Why would I ever want it again?
Okay, so you threw a box of rounds and took a gun.
There's
Small
no
box
reason.
or a big box? What it looks like?
This is, well, I mean, like that.
Okay, and what did it look like? What was the markings on it?
I
Cardboard, plastic box, what on
cardboard.
Would you buy them, the rounds? Give me something honest I can work with that shows that you have credibility here.
It's, I'm telling you, the gun was something I've had. And the rounds, same thing, I don't shoot. I do not shoot. I don't go to the gun range, I don't shoot.
Right, but you carry a gun in your car all the time, you said.
I did. It's the same one I had.
Okay.
But it's probably the same rounds from whenever I got it.
Okay. Okay. You fired the round. Do you stay around long enough to watch him fall?
No,
Did you see him flinch or anything? What was his reaction when the round struck him?
I did stick around to see any reaction. It scared me. Like, it went off and I didn't even intend for
Did you see the phone in his ear?
No.
You just saw him sitting there.
I honestly didn't see him.
Well, now you told me you did. You told me twice now. You said that the first time you walked up, the first time you walked through the store, you said you saw him sitting there. You did. And then you said when you drove through with the coffee place was closed, you saw that he was there.
The lights were on. The lights were on, the blinds were drawn. That's it.
Well, I want you to know that pictures are taken, right?
Yep.
And so we have pictures that evening. And same as I stood there, I stood where you stood, well, there's the window.
Mm-hmm.
If you were lying, but kind of show me how far back. This is the window. Here's the alleyway. How far back were you? So I'll tell you where I stood.
All right. I believe that.
And just so you know, I walked down that alleyway and I looked and I see Dr. Derek man on the floor. And the blinds were closed still. Okay? I can see him lying on the floor. So in that picture, it exists. Okay? We have lots of those pictures. We have a book full of pictures. All right? Okay. So, again, for a penny and for a pound, Daniel, I know you're transparent, but of course he was sitting there, and of course you knew he was sitting there. Please don't try to make them guys and pull away little pieces that all of a sudden don't make sense again, no more than you taking a shit in the alleyway when the shooting happens. None of that makes any sense either.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so we're done for that, please. That's pretty silly, man. Please, okay? Don't convolute this thing. An honest person, there's no, you don't have to cover a story when it's an honest story. Okay?
Well, you're gonna find if you go do a DNA test that I shit in the alley.
Okay. But not in your office.
No,
You ever contemplated suicide again?
no, and I don't know what happened there.
Daniel.
I
Honestly, I don't think it's such a bad thing. I'm telling you right now, I understand. I am not so sure I would have done the same. Because you know what would happen? Your wife would have got insurance payout, right? It would have been an accidental death. You would be sitting in front of me right now, would you?
No.
No? So, are you a dumb man? Is it against law to commit suicide? Is it?
Well, you're not gonna get paid with your insurance if you commit suicide.
Is it a gas leak? Is gas pretty smart? No, I'm asking, is it against law to commit suicide? Hey, what do you think?
Well, you're not gonna get insurance.
I'm just curious. I'm asking.
I don't think so.
No, it's not. Okay, so I mean, people try to commit suicide all the time. We just try to give them to the hospital, give them help. So what we do, we don't arrest them, put them in jail for trying to commit suicide. And so you don't have to deny that. It actually makes sense. I mean, it's like, no, I get it. It didn't work out, but I understand it.
I didn't do it though. I mean, there's
there's this crazy fluke. 3 days after you kill a man, you have the gas leak in your place and you're laying there on your table, breathing it all in. Come on, man. If you would have a 30-year gas man look at that pipe, 30 years the guy's been doing the job. That's no accident. So he'll be on stand. And it's not that you're not being charged with anything there. We're just trying to see it. You were so heartbroken over it. It makes sense. Holy crap. Dan didn't want to kill nobody. That's how we even know more. That Dan Moore didn't want to kill nobody. And it shocked your system so dang bad you thought it was something you never thought of before, which is suicide. I get the mind of that. That mind I can understand. Am I anywhere near the truth? Yeah. Okay, it makes sense, right? Okay. And as we go through these things, know that we know certain stuff. We have all this knowledge. Again, the biggest one is the why. You know, but certainly when it comes to you trying to kill yourself afterwards, I almost feel negligent that we didn't see it clear. This could have not been months and months of suffering, and we could have made that stop after that, right? I wish we would have seen this. And I saw that as a gas leak, and I didn't pay close enough attention. Jeez, you're crying out, "Go, brother," and I feel bad for okay, and then who was it? Nick? It was not Nick. But you didn't tell him what was going on? Okay.
He doesn't know anything.
No, I know what I'm saying, but that when you woke up, you didn't let him know. I just want to end it. I just want to be done.
No.
Okay. Just kind of put it away. Somebody was mistaken. It didn't work out.
My dad committed suicide.
How?
Shot himself, I guess.
Sorry. Life is hard on us, man. Right? Little things happen, but the truth is, things happen to everybody. It's not the mistakes we make that define us. It's how we handle the mistakes. Right? Okay. It's how you handle this. So far, you're handling it well. I'm proud of you. Okay. You at least give us something to work with. And it makes a little more sense. Okay, your attempt was a scare. You didn't mean to kill him. No. Okay. All right. So you stood in the window, pointed the gun. Did you carry the gun in your waistband going over there? Did you put it in your pocket? Where'd you carry it? Remember?
No, just pocket.
Just in your pocket? Right or left?
Right.
Okay, your right-handed man.
Well, no, I'm left-handed.
Explain. I'm confused.
I don't shoot. I just, it's like they're right-handed with some stuff and left-handed with some stuff.
I see that. Yeah. Okay. So you had the gun was in your glove box in your truck, or where was that? In your truck before you got out.
Yeah, the glove box.
Okay. Middle console or glove box?
Middle.
Middle console. Was it? Or am I just feeding you stuff you're disagreeing with?
No, I think that's what it was.
Okay. In a holster?
No.
They're already loaded.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get it out, you put it in your right pocket as you get out of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go down there and stay on site. Did you have it done out that when you walked down the alleyway, or did you pull it out after you got down the alleyway and stood right there in front of the window? Picture yourself standing there. Was the gun already in your hand, or did you pull it out at that point?
Pull it out at that point.
Okay. Show me this or this.
I don't even remember.
Think about it. This is the biggest moment in your life. You're not a man, you're not a killer. You're not going to know that. Was it here or was it down here?
What's the difference in me?
I'm just trying to create a picture here. All right, I'm just trying to create a picture that makes sense to me.
Probably down here, because it wasn't. I know you keep saying you saw it, but I didn't. I just saw light and noise. And that was it.
What kind of noise did you hear? I had you talking because there's no music playing.
No, just muffled.
Okay, it's like the sound of voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that would be him on the phone, right? So that makes a little more sense. Okay, okay. All right. I'm not gonna leave your side here, okay? I'm gonna go talk to those guys, but I won't be back, okay? Do you have any questions?
You still don't think I should have an attorney for all this?
I have never said one way or the other. I'm saying this is your decision.
No.
Every time, and when I leave here and say I'm not talking to you no more, and you ask to talk to me again, Daniel, I'm not to talk to you. When I hear, I'm not here to advise you on your attorney. I advise you have the right to an attorney. You decide who or not. You have to make that clear decision what you want to do. So then you say you want to talk to me. That's it, brother. That's all I do for you. Okay?
Well, you know how things are going to go down. I don't know even.
I imagine you're very scared. You're gonna go to jail. You know that. You're gonna go for murder, okay? But it's gonna be a lesser degree than the first degree, okay? And again, I tell you something else. I've got detectives in here that have absolutely given their life those last 6 months. And we're painstaking to do this together, all right? And they're kind enough to let me come in and talk to you because I care. I'm gonna meet with the gentleman now because I owe it to them. I talk with them a little bit because of the work they've done. All right? You and I wouldn't be talking right now with their basic. In some ways, nothing would heal. This thing would never, ever heal. It would eat you alive. It would kill you off way too soon. This is done now. This is rebuild life, all right? No, Dan, you made a mistake. Okay? You made a mistake. You made a bad choice.
My wife will leave me.
Think so? No. If it happens, you get to keep on. Okay? You do.
Make it so respectful.
You're not a killer, man. Okay? You're not a killer. I made a mistake. You're right.
Marty Ryan right there is Dr. Moore. Is he sleeping? Is he close? Is he sleeping? His eyes are closed. He's sleeping right there. What about now? And still, oh, it seems like he's moving. Oh wait, here we go.
The diver out there.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
saying this is your thing.
And then, do you come back in the room, Chief? Yes.
Okay, let's do this again. Would you do me a favor? And just slide everything before I send a diver out there. You're saying this is your best estimate. If you say this is your best estimate, I'm asking that you give me initials and the signature saying that is you. Can you do that for me? I'm just sitting here, so I shared with the sheriff, let him know what was going on, and I think we should send a team out there. And then when we said fence dumpsters, we talking, this is the glass shop. Your office is up here, here's Hillside Alley. Was this, where do you want to take your shit? Right there. Just kind of do a little circle, You do? Okay. And, so two things, can you just sign and date it or something so I know it came from you?
What's today's date?
8/27. So we're actually gonna go dig it up. It's really hard to see, do that, that's super hard to see. Is that what right here, is your stamp?
It's a fenced in area,
Okay.
and it's in the back corner.
Unbelievable. So you really did it.
Why?
You just didn't give a change.
No,
Okay, Daniel.
I have to go to the
Well,
doctor.
I know that, but just do a good mark right there, so we can make sure we understand. Circle with it.
It's in the back corner.
Well, then what direction did you have from there to go to the doctor's office? Because he's here, we've been here. This is where we are right here. So you took the shit here. In what direction did you go? There's Tyler. Glass shop.
I'm not sure.
Okay. That's why it's hard to see things from the air like this. But you did that before you walked over here, not afterwards.
Right. I think the doctor,
Are you comfortable signing this so I can let Kramer know that this is what you think the gun is? Or you not feel confident about that?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay, what do you think?
I just don't remember. I just don't remember.
No way. You remember standing on by the docks? You think it's the next morning, so the sun was up?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, it was early.
sun was up by that here. What time do you think?
6.
Okay, yeah, March, you're right, so it'll be probably a little bit dark. If it's not accurate, Dan, tell me.
No, that's the best I remember.
But you won't put your name on that, saying that I'm telling you, it's right.
I'll put my name on it. I will.
And then just 8/27 is the date.
And if this went to the jury, this is just gonna. And how's this gonna go down?
I don't know. I don't know if these go to the jury.
Hmm?
I don't know if these go to the jury. But do you have an attorney that actually works for you? Okay, well, you're gonna wanna go get an attorney, I would think, right? You're gonna get an attorney, and then you wanna have your attorney work with the prosecutor and try to work something out. Or you go to jury trial, right, whatever one you wanna do, brother, right? Okay? Protect your family, do the right thing, right? And
My family gets sued for everything.
how I possibly do this. Yeah, that isn't cool. It isn't cool for me. I don't know. Again, I mean, I'm not saying, I won't be worried about that. Yeah, there's big things to worry about here right now, you know. The neat thing is, Daniel, is that we have an understanding, okay? We know why Dan did what he did. And it wasn't because you were sleeping with somebody's wife or he was cheating with your wife or something. If that was there, we want to know that. It would change everything. Okay? You understand this concept? Don't call his wife now and say he didn't mean to kill your husband. Okay? So your husband wasn't involved in anything bad. Get that?
I did that.
Okay. All right. I'll be back here. Stay warm.
Mr. Ryan, what does Dan Moore say right there? Do you need me to replay that? Did you catch that? Doesn't he say, I didn't do it, and shaking his head? Again, one more time. We'll let the jury decide what he says there. And Mr. Ryan, we're probably gonna have to bring you back here tomorrow to continue your line of questioning here. But a last couple questions here. Did Dr. Moore's mannerisms change at any point in time throughout the entire conversation? And you were aware that this confession was deemed to be coercive techniques on your part, and it was also a Miranda violation, multiple, as we heard Dr. Moore saying he wanted to see an attorney. Are you aware of that? And it was cited that it was your, what was her name there? Judge Buchanan said that Assistant Police Chief Bonners Ferry, Marty Ryan, should be appalled and use a bunch of colorful language to describe your technique. And that she thought that you should be sanctioned or reprimanded. Is that correct? Now, looking back at this case, and you had time to reflect over the past 4 years, would you change anything? Would you do anything different? I feel horrible. I let down Miss Drake and her kids. I wholeheartedly believe everything that Daniel told me was the truth. And I don't believe that I raised my voice or anybody got louder. If I was to do it all over again, maybe I wouldn't want the outcome that came of it, but that's that judge's opinion. I have a different opinion, and so do other people. Well, do you have a different opinion of the Supreme Court that said it was, they upheld that it was Miranda violation? Do you normally, I mean, was this normal for you in interrogations or interviews with potential suspects? All right, I'm sure that defense counsel has questions, but no more further questions for this witness. Yes, Your Honor. We asked that we can start this tomorrow because I know that we were ending here at 3 today, so we can begin our cross-examination of retired Assistant Chief of Police for the Bonner Ferry Department, Marty Ryan. We can begin with our cross tomorrow morning if that pleases the court. All right. Yes, I said this is a great point to stop. Thank you, jurors. Get up, stretch. You guys are, remember, no talking to anybody, no Googling, no looking up the case on your own. And we will be back tomorrow, Tuesday, and we'll start tomorrow promptly. We should not have any pre-trial issues, right? Or not pre-trial, but we should be good. 9 o'clock. All rise. All rise. All right, jurors, you guys are dismissed. Now, counsel, this can be done off the record because it does have to do with the AV. Are you going to be using any more of the video for tomorrow in your cross? Oh, the only thing that we would be using it for is if Marty Ryan was unable to remember what took place during that interrogation. But we are asking questions off of cross with that. We'll do our best to have it queued up if we need to refresh his recollection. All right, thank you. Okay. All right, jurors, you guys are dismissed. Anybody? Phenomenal, loud, round of applause. And oh, I'm trying over here. How long was he sitting in the room? Well, he continued to sit in that room for another. We'll be disclosing that to the jury tomorrow for another, I don't know, 45 minutes or something like that. So. Join us for the cross-examination because it's going to be lit as a tit. Judge, what time tomorrow to the transparency? Yeah, we'll start at 9. We'll just get a jump on it. Our jurors are just foaming at the mouth to get the cross. They want to hear Marty Ryan get fucking shredded, so. All right, guys. Salute. Over and out. Thank you.